rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they the ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones to believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wantin' more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah.
Here's Navarro on the run. Navarro's going to keep it. Navarro for 6! Touchdown, Bobcat!
I feel I had a hard time staying in my own lane.
Oh my goodness! Red Murdoch! Pick 6!
Harvath inside the 30 to 20. Blake Harvath will score!
And Mendoza takes a big hit. He never saw it coming. Trey White got in there.
There's his man, Rucker. And nobody's going to catch him. Goodbye.
Intercepted.
Tyree Skipper. Touchdown.
Telly again, why not? A step forward and make it 2 for Telly.
Quarterback keeper. Showing off the speed. Steps on the gas. Untouched.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive, where we bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Justice. No Luke tonight, so I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Andrew Katz from Burning the Red Shirt. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening in podcast form, please rate and review. What's going on, Andrew? Glad to have you on the show.
Dude, thank you for having me. How are you?
Good, man. It's I think the third time you've been on, right? Maybe the fourth time? Maybe
oh, man. Yeah, last time I feel like we recorded deep into the night and I was not at my best. So happy to, and I was sick and I had internet issues. So, but I think we're checking all the right boxes tonight. It's going to be good.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you. It was a fun but very busy weekend for myself. I'll talk about it later, but I went to the ODU Marshall game in Huntington. Had a great time, other than the outcome of the game. but yeah, the Marshall fans are great. Like everyone we interacted with was awesome tailgate. I got to see the cemetery, the memorial at the cemetery for the 75. We got to see the memorial on campus. So yeah, it was just it was cool to be able to see the history. Marshall is kind of a bucket list school for me to want to go and visit, and so kind of got that one checked off.
They opened up one of those what would you call it? So sections of their stadium where you can pay like a premium and like have access to all inclusive and stuff like that. It looks like the ultimate party. Like Duke has it now as well. Did you sit there?
No, we didn't. Now our host did. He had tickets for that. He was telling us all about it. It's I want to say I think it's $2,500 a game though, or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's not cheap. But yeah, it was all inclusive, food, everything. Maybe it's $2,500 for this. Maybe it's $2,500 per ticket for the season. Maybe that's what it was. And I think he said like former Marshall players. I think he said it's $1,000 a ticket for the season. So that's not that's a nice perk for former players. Yeah, but it's a long ride. It's a 7-hour ride from where I'm at to Huntington, and it's I don't know, kind of a boring ride. Fortunately, I was not the one driving. I got to ride, so I got to doze off and sleep some. But yeah, had a great time. So shout out to the Thundercast. Russ Livinggood was our host.
Nice. I've DM'd them trying to get info before.
Yeah, Russ is a great guy, man. Like he top notch host. Took us everywhere we wanted to go. Hooked us up with a place to stay, the tailgate, the whole 9 yards, man.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
It top notch job by Russ. And shout out to the ODU Monarchists for allowing me to tag along with them. Had a great time. So tonight we'll be bringing everyone up to speed on the news around the G5. We'll talk about what went down in Week 7. Set you guys up for success with our Week 8 previews, and then we'll close things out with our waiver wire honey, our segment for folks that play college fantasy football. We are not going to do the 2020 players on the show tonight, just in the interest of time, and with Luke being out and me being kind of by myself, having to try and get all the graphics and stuff done, it just wasn't really possible for tonight. But we will be tweeting out the graphics of those 2020 players during the week. So if that's something you're interested in terms of who those guys are, stay tuned on X. We'll get those tweeted out this week, just kind of like we normally do. Yes. How nice Russ's hair is. Yes. Russ does have great hair. And like I said, he throws a mean tailgate. Yeah.
Do you think he's offended for me wearing the wrong half of the moonshine throwdown gear tonight?
He might be.
No, don't take it personally, please.
Yeah, no, but Russ is great, man. Like I said, took us to Tudors too. We went to Tudors Saturday morning.
What's that?
We went to the Union on Friday night. The Union has quarters. You don't know what quarters are. It's like I think a 4-ounce pour of beer, and it's a quarter. So yeah, we got to hit all the cool spots there in Huntington. And hopefully we hosted Russ last year at our tailgate. 5-ounce pour. That's right. But yeah, awesome time, and hopefully we'll see Russ again down in Norfolk in the future, and hopefully we can make the trip back up to Huntington. We did have a huge announcement for tonight. Unfortunately, it's things aren't quite where I can make the announcement. So stay tuned this week. Some point this week, we will probably go live again. I don't know if it'll just be me and Luke or what, but we'll go live with a pretty big announcement for us anyway. it's going to be a game changer for a lot of folks, particularly folks that play college fantasy football.
Oh, this sounds exciting.
It's pretty exciting stuff. We've been working on it since April, and we think we're ready to bring it to the masses. Hopefully, at some point later this week. Wasn't quite ready to make that announcement tonight, so stay tuned here this week, and we'll get that out. Without any further ado, we'll move over to our G5 Hive Players of the Week for Week 7. Luke's Offensive Player of the Week for Week 7, San Jose State wide receiver Danny Scudero. Danny caught 10 balls for 180 yards, 4 touchdowns to lead the Spartans in Week 7. Congratulations, Danny. My G5 Hive Defensive Player of the Week is none other than Colorado State linebacker Owen Long. Owen had 17 tackles, 9 solos, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and a pass defended to lead the Rams to victory in Week 7. Congratulations, Owen. My Offensive Player of the Week for Week 7 is Jacksonville State running back Cam Cook. Cam Cook ran for 218 yards, 2 touchdowns while catching 2 passes and another 15 yards to lead the Gamecocks to victory in Week 7. Congratulations, Cam. Luke's Defensive Player of the Week for Week 7, Western Michigan edge Nadame Tucker. Nadame had 7 tackles, 3 solos, 3.5 tackles for loss, and 3.5 sacks to lead the Broncos to victory in Week 7. Congratulations, Nadame. Our freshman Offensive Player of the Week is none other than Missouri State Bears quarterback Deuce Bailey. Deuce made his first career start for the Missouri State Bears. He threw for 278 yards and 1 touchdown while adding another 17 yards and a touchdown on the ground to lead the Bears to victory in Week 7. Congratulations, Deuce. The G5 Hive Freshman Defensive Player of the Week is none other than Washington State Cougars linebacker Sullivan Schlimden. Sullivan had 9 tackles, 2 of which were solo for the Cougars in Week 7. Congratulations, Sullivan. And that's going to do it for our G5 Hive Week 7 Players of the Week. One thing some folks I don't think quite understand with the freshmen. We always do true freshmen. We don't honor redshirt freshmen. It's just something we've always done since the beginning. Sometimes we'll get comments and saying, well, so-and-so had a better game. Well, he may have, but he's a redshirt freshman and not a true freshman. And some weeks it gets tough, especially on the defensive side, to find true freshmen that have made an impact. But both Deuce and Sullivan played great this past week. I guess before we get into the games, we got some pretty big news this week. Start off with the head coaches that got fired. Shouldn't be a shocker. Luke and I have talked about this first one. I feel like since last year, and that's UAB head coach Trent Dilfer. During his tenure at UAB, he is 9-21. Alex Mortensen has been named the interim. Mortensen, who is the son of the late NFL analyst Chris Mortensen, was the team's offensive coordinator before taking over as the interim head coach for the remainder of the 2025 season. This one just feels like a long time coming, right? Like,
I guess. At least one side of the ball was promising, but I know you're getting I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but could you even say that about Oregon State? Like they couldn't get either side of the ball to really get it going. I know if we're reflecting on 2024 and 2025, they kind of had like a decent ground attack in 2024, but if we hone in on 2025, like what actually worked in Corvallis, it was at least you could count on Dilfer to get in a bunch of shootouts. Maybe it's more credit to the interim coach, right? Mortensen, who from day one, like he was getting Jacob Zeno, who I had no idea could actually spin the ball as like with any sort of effectiveness to complete 80% of his passes. So
And then
He'll
Jalen
definitely
Kitna, right? Like Kitna, once he took over last year, it's been,
yeah.
slinging it all over as well.
Yeah, so UAB overs might still be a thing with Mortensen at the helm, right? So I don't know. I'd heard that like Dilfer from a buddy that Dilfer like as a person was like super invested, really cared. I don't think you could say that for every coach that gets the axe ultimately in football. So obviously like maybe he could have benefited from a little more career resume previously, right? He really jumped in with 2 feet without a ton of experience, right? Well, I think he was coaching high school in Tennessee or something like that for a couple of years, had a turnaround, and then straight to head coaching job at the FBS level. Maybe a little more experience could have benefited him in this role, but yeah, I guess for UAB, I don't know. Hopefully the offense continues to cook for our purposes.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just unremarkable how bad the defense was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it didn't matter who they played. It could be an FCS team, and it was going to be a shootout as long as their offense could keep up. The UAB's offense, because the defense, like they were not good, and they hadn't been good in the last 2 years. Some interesting rumors I had heard. Probably the most interesting rumor I heard in terms of who they might be looking at was Bryant Vincent at Monroe. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Monroe, from a financial and a resources perspective, is, if not at the bottom, it's near the bottom of FBS football, and so it would make sense from that perspective. I wonder, like, I don't imagine this would happen, but like, I think people still try to like think about Bill Clark, right? Like, but I can't imagine they would go that route. Just because
the guy walked away, he retired, right? So unless he's got the itch, you're probably knocking on different doors.
And it feels like if he had some interest, and I may not have interest, like maybe they would have asked him to be the interim, right?
Yeah.
And so since that didn't happen, it makes me think like, I mean, it's probably just wishful thinking from folks of yesteryear, just hearkening back to the days when he revitalized the program. But yeah, it'll kind of be interesting to see what they do at UAB in the American. They'll have to start with a new quarterback, because I'm pretty sure Kitten is out of eligibility after this year.
Oh, yeah.
But on to the next one. Like you said, Oregon State, after an 0-7 start, Oregon State head coach Trent Bray has been let go. Rob Akey, who previously served as the team's special assistant to the head coach, has been named the interim head coach. And there's been some other changes as well. Obviously, Bray, in addition to his head coaching duties, was the defensive coordinator there. So Rod Chance and Ayalasia Tuiaki will share the defensive coordinator role. Offensive coordinator Ryan Gunderson will no longer call plays. That will
Probably
go to that's going to go to Danny Langsdorf. Gunderson will still coach QBs and contribute as part of the group that runs the offense. But they weren't really clear on what his actual title is going to be, but it's pretty clear to me he's not really the OC anymore.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, the only Oregon State game I've watched this year was the game against Houston, and they should have won the game. Like they crapped the bed in that game, and like that was probably the one game that you look back and like that one got away, and like had they won that game, would it have changed things? I don't know. They had a pretty tough schedule to start the year as well. Obviously, the schedule gets a lot easier this week, which we'll get to shortly. Playing at FCS in Lafayette, but we had a supporter, and this was a comment I saw earlier too on Twitter about Michigan State fans like being over Jonathan Smith. So like, be interesting to see like if he becomes available, if Corvallis would Oregon State would take him back. I mean, I just feel like in the position that they're in, they would, but maybe maybe he burned some bridges and pissed people off. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't a super happy parting of ways. It definitely felt like one of those things where there were fans that were burning like Jonathan Smith jerseys and stuff like that on his way out.
Right.
But I mean, how can you say anything's impossible when Petrino is back at Arkansas, right? So it's not it's not off the table.
That's so true. That's so true. Another interesting name I heard thrown about today, and this was really interesting too because it kind of makes some sense as well, is Nick Rolovich.
Are you serious? Is that actually
yeah.
a real rumor? We were just talking about that, me, Chris, and Zach, like last night. Like, just like how, like maybe, like, can we speak this into existence? You think that's got real legs?
I mean, I think it's got some juice. Yeah,
that would be awesome.
You know, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, you know, no, he's not going to get a P4 job, right? I could see maybe a P4 taking a chance on him as an OC, maybe.
Yeah.
But he ain't getting a head coaching job, and like, I don't know, like if you want to, you know, make a hire that's has proven, you know, to be, you know, at the very least, he's going to have a good offense. We know that, right?
Yes.
And so I could see Oregon State like going that direction. Now, maybe for political capital and reasons they wouldn't, but I feel like we're far enough removed from all that stuff where like I could see them going that direction.
Rolo, whoever has been in charge of kind of getting him back on the grid, managing that situation, A+ to them, because that's not a guarantee when you kind of get kicked out of the acceptable coaching hire, whatever circle of candidates, right? For political, social reasons, et cetera. But he's back on the map, right? I choose to believe he is like having a lot of direct influence in the JKS success. Like that doesn't scream Brian Harsin to me. It's great. Like a lot of what they're doing there screams Nick Rolovich scheme, right? They're like, it's so fun when you have a vested interest in a quarterback from a fantasy or betting perspective, and they snap the ball, and you just like, even if it's play like 5 or 6 plays in a row in a drive, and it's just pass, and they just keep doing it. LSU was like that last year with Dustmeyer, but and it was great. It was like every single freaking play was just a pass, and Caleb's playing that game with JKS. It feels like the driving force behind that is Rolovich. Like Harsin's offenses have been so boring, at least since he got out of Boise. I can't imagine that. But he is kind of the man behind that. But and I've always been a Rolo guy. Like I loved his work in Hawaii, of course. And it kind of working out from a fantasy perspective, on-field perspective. It was working out well at Washington State, right? Like I think he had them in a bowl and a winning record before things kind of went off the rails. So guy has always been great to us in terms of fantasy. I mean, he's not necessarily winning championships, but like his teams performed well.
And they're entertaining, right? Like, I mean, I always feel like, like if what I'm always looking for a head coach is like an entertaining offense, right? Because I feel like fans can get behind that. Like, obviously, everyone wants a winner, right? But that I feel like you're given a little bit more leeway at least if your offense is fun, entertaining, high scoring. Whereas if you're just trying to win games, 16-13 every week, that doesn't I don't think appeal to the casual fans. I was kind of surprised Rolovich did not get a G5 job last year, but I feel like he's going to be a hot name this year. Another name I saw, and like I don't get this one, and that's Brennan Marion. Like I think that would be a disaster for Oregon State. Personally,
I've long been a fan and a supporter of Marion, so I understand there's coaching arguments that you can make against like why you may not want like your team that you're personally vested in to have him, but when has the guy ever not gotten results? And granted, I haven't been following Sacramento State this year, so I don't know if is that going off the rails? Is that bad?
I don't think it's gone terrible, but I
True.
don't think it's necessarily gone really well. I was gonna look it up right now to see if I
But
could.
I mean, just if we backtrack, right, it's success at UNLV, and then is he he's the wide receivers coach at Pitt when Addison wins the Biletnikoff. Success at Hawaii, I think, with Shevin, and then before that invents the go-go events at I think William and Mary. So yeah, like you ask around and there's stories right about like I think that kind of question some of the like interpersonal stuff or whatever, but I don't know if like your number one priority is winning football, the guy has kind of proved it across many stops.
So they're 3-3. They lost to South Dakota State, lost to Nevada, beat Mercyhurst, beat Central Arkansas, lost to Cal Poly, and beat Weber State.
I don't know how to judge. I don't know how to judge that though. Like I don't know what kind of.
It seems kind of like, right. So we know South Dakota State's a good team, right?
Yeah.
They're always one of the top teams in the FCS. And Nevada, I don't know. They're a lower end FBS team. They lost to them 20-17.
Less so that though, but I just don't know what the expectations and the history are associated with Sacramento State.
I mean, he's got talent there, right? He's got. I mean, they brought in a ton of
the war chest
of transfers down, right? And so, yeah, it's. I mean, offensively, you know, the games they win, they score big. The games they don't win, they don't hardly score at all. So, it seems like kind of a mixed bag of results. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Cardell Williams leads them in passing, 800 yards. Rodney Hammond Jr., their leading rusher, 367, and Ernest Campbell, their leading receiver, with 336 yards. So, yeah, I don't know. I would say it's probably a mixed bag for those guys here in 2025. But I just thought, you know, his name was mentioned, and I thought I'd mention it. It's I don't know. Like I seriously doubt Oregon State would go that way. But yeah, Boogie Trotter. Boogie had a pretty, the Boogeyman. He had a pretty good game this past week against Old Dominion. Congratulations, Boogie.
You get players in the chat?
Not usually. I mean,
that's awesome.
I mean, sometimes, but it's not. I mean, we have players watch. We can see they're watching. We don't normally get comments, but yeah, shout out to Boogie, who's having an outstanding year for the Herd. He's probably you know, he's on track to at the very least be a Sun Belt first conference all defensive player. So congratulations to Boogie. Hope your outstanding season continues. All right, moving on to some other news. Tulsa head coach Trey Lamb has said that Baylor Hayes will start for Tulsa this week versus East Carolina. I'm shocked that it took this long to get there. I know. I think both me and Katz both are Kirk Francis guys, but Hayes looked better, and so I thought that this move would have been made sooner. So it's not totally surprising to me that Baylor Hayes is going to get the start this week.
Why did they go back to Kirk in their last game?
That's what I didn't quite understand, because I thought Hayes. I mean, maybe it's just because he didn't want, like, he was injured and they just, I don't know, felt some loyalty to him. But I thought, like, Hayes had outplayed Kirk. So that one was a head scratcher to me when it happened. And I guess, you know, now maybe Trey Lamb said, "Hey, we gave you another shot. We're gonna have to go back to Baylor. He looks like the better quarterback." Some injury news. First, some guys that are due to return soon. Some of them maybe this week. Louisiana quarterback Walker Howard will return to full practice this week. Coach Dez did say that Lunch Winfield is the starter and that Walker will have to win the job back. That's some huge news for Louisiana. They're a team I feel like it's like in the G5 anyway has been decimated by injuries, losing Howard, losing Shelton Sampson. They've lost like I think 4 offensive linemen. It's been a rough go, and they had a couple rough spots, right? But the last couple of weeks they've at least been playing better. They may not, they did get the win against Marshall. They lost against JMU this week, but I feel like they've been playing better, right? So be interesting to kind of see if Walker gets the start this week. I don't think I would personally expect it, right? I feel like Lunch has been playing, decent the last couple of weeks. It feels like they'll give a Lunch another week and then hope Walker can go in 2 weeks would be my guess.
Yeah, that the phrasing of it seems so odd. You think that it? I don't know. I feel like it just does not usually play out that way. Where like what Walker play 2 quarters of football or something like that. And yeah, I haven't gotten eyes on Lunch yet. Obviously, he had that huge game and that overtime win, and then they were in that JMU game this past week, right?
Yep.
But it's interesting that they're really putting, at least publicly, the onus on Walker to win back the job. Like I feel like it's just like if we're just talking starter, backup at the quarterback position, the onus is usually more on the backup to truly take a stranglehold on the job. And I don't know. It's interesting.
To me, like it just feels like, I don't know, like it probably would take 2 weeks for kind of Walker to kind of get back and get acclimated. So I would expect to see Lunch Winfield again this week. Wyoming head coach Jay Savell says that tight end John Michael Gillenborg is expected back this week versus Air Force. So that's good news for the Cowboys. The second half, the offense. We'll get to the game. The second half, the offense came alive, but they were pretty rough in the first half. And getting John Michael Gillenborg back, that's kind of huge for them. Savell's another one. Like I don't know. Like his seat has to be pretty daggone warm. They got the win this week, but still, like offensively, they just so inconsistent on offense. App State quarterback A.J. Swan was deemed healthy this past week, but J.J. Cole gets the start. J.J. played well. It'll be interesting to kind of see what they do going forward. I mean, I thought A.J. played well other than the turnovers. That was kind of the big knock on A.J. I think the big thing you've seen is with no A.J. Swan, Jaden Barnes, the slot receiver, really isn't getting the looks. J.J. Cole looks elsewhere.
So we don't have like a huge resume from J.J. Cole, but I thought that he was like known for his running ability, but clearly the box score says otherwise. Am I just making that up?
Yeah. I don't ever recall thinking J.J. Cole as a dual threat guy.
Okay.
He's really, really tall.
I
want to say he's like 6'6", mate. Yeah, he's a big quarterback. Maybe he has functional mobility, but I don't ever really recall anyone, thinking he's like a dual threat.
I'm probably just confusing him with Hunter Deckers because they were both.
Hunter Deckers was a dual threat, absolutely.
Yeah, at Iowa State.
Miami, Ohio running back Kenny Tracy was out this past week. Bowling Green quarterback Drew Pine was out. Lucian Anderson got the start in the big win for Bowling Green over Toledo. Louisiana running back Zylan Perry was out this past week. However, Coach Dez said today that he is confident that Perry will be good to go this week. South Florida wide receiver Chaz Nimrod got injured on the first play in the third quarter, and after that he was seen on the sideline in a boot. So kind of stay tuned to see what his status is. San Jose State quarterback Walker Egan got hurt, but he did come back in the game with the game on the line. Colorado State running back Justin Marshall left the game with what appeared to be a serious injury. Oregon State wide receiver Trent Walker had to be carted off the field in the game against Wake Forest. It seems like Walker, like, I don't know, I feel like the last 3 weeks something's happened and he's gotten injured and he's had to leave.
Did he come back in? I thought I saw that.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Missouri State quarterback Jacob Clark obviously did not play this week, and his status is questionable in Week 8. As we mentioned, Deuce Bailey got the start, played well for the Bears as a true freshman. Rice quarterback Chase Jenkins got injured in Week 7, and he did not return to the game. And probably the biggest news for me this week, today, was that Georgia Southern cornerback Chance Gamble suffered a torn labrum against Southern Miss. He will have to have surgery on Thursday, and he will miss the rest of the season. That is a huge loss for that Georgia Southern defense. Chance Gamble, one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football, let alone just the G5. Chance, he was, someone that was probably going to be an all Sun Belt performer as well. But that torn labrum is going to set him out for the rest of the year. He might be able to get a medical because he missed some games earlier in the season. So I'm not quite sure if he played more than 4 games yet. So possibly Chance might be able to get a medical red shirt. But nonetheless, huge loss for Georgia Southern for the rest of the season. All right, let's get into the top 25. So we got 2 teams in the G5 that are in the AP top 25. South Florida made a big jump up this week, up to 19 after their big win over North Texas. And Memphis moved up to number 22 this week. Others receiving votes, UNLV came in at number 29 with 30 votes. Navy came in at 30 with 11 votes. And then Tulane and San Diego State coming at number 32 with 2 votes apiece. It's kind of interesting to see like the voters, the AP voters anyway, react so much to that win by South Florida over North Texas. And, I want to say South Florida, I think it was 24 or 23 last week. They were right behind Memphis, and they jumped Memphis and moved up quite a bit. It just feels like the AP voters don't really pay attention much to the G5. So I guess kudos to them to, take notice that, USF beat a pretty good North Texas team. Who do you think's number 1? I know like in our consensus poll, it was a tie. The G5 top 25 consensus poll, which we'll get to in a minute, was a tie. And I know Luke and I have a different view on who number 1 is. I'm kind of curious on, in Katz, in your opinion, who do you think the best G5 team is?
Oh, man. Well, if you'd asked me a week ago, I would have said with my heart North Texas, but that was just proved incorrect. Not going to say a MAC team. I don't think I'm going to say a Mountain West team. It's tough to go against the AAC. I probably would have said your boys until this past Saturday, man. I think, especially when it comes to like just intra G5, I want to see a G5 team take down Tulane before I put. Am I correct that is Tulane just have? Do they just have the loss to Ole Miss, or am I making that up?
Yeah, that's correct. They only have the loss to Ole Miss.
I want to see another G5 team beat them before I would rank anyone above them at this point, I think.
For me, like it's South Florida. I just feel like South Florida, like they've been pretty dominant. When they're not dominant, it's because like my own team, they turn the ball over so much. They turned the ball over, I don't know, 3 times in the first half last week or week before last against Charlotte. They still win the game, but like I just feel like from a talent standpoint, South Florida has the most talent. Luke and I, how we do our own votes, how we submit them for Hero Sports is we each do our own rankings and then we average them. And then like if we have a tie, we use ESPN FPI to kind of break the tie for us. And so obviously I had South Florida one. He had Memphis one. It's going to be a tie because, we each had the other two. And so we used ESPN FPI. And so Memphis got our official vote as the number one.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a big game. It's coming up. The Memphis South Florida game. The crappy thing is it's 11 a.m. start, so it's a noon start on the East Coast. So I don't know what other games are going on that week. I believe that game is coming up in like 2 weeks, I think. But I don't know. It doesn't feel great for an opportunity for game day to go to a G5 game. But that would be a great one to go to. It seems like they usually go to one a year, but
yeah.
It doesn't seem like just because of when that game's going to start, maybe that's not going to be a great opportunity. I know Memphis, the game's at Memphis, so I know they're lobbying to get game day there. So maybe it'll happen. It does seem like a missed opportunity though. Like, why wouldn't you put that game at night in prime time instead of at noon? But is what it is. Speaking of the G5 top 25, these are our votes. As I was talking about earlier, how we calculate them. 1 through 11, 12 were pretty consistent for us, pretty consistent for the Hero Sports poll as well. Where Luke and I had some big differences this week was that kind of the next group of 10. We almost had we were basically inverse of each other. And so that resulted in my opinion, some weird rankings, but we stuck with the way we've been doing it. Memphis came in at number 1, South Florida number 2, Tulane 3, Navy 4, UNLV 5, JMU 6, Boise State Broncos 7, North Texas 8, Old Dominion 9, San Diego State 10, Connecticut Huskies 11, Ohio 12, Texas State 13, Fresno State 14, Western Kentucky 15, ECU 16, Delaware 17, Hawaii 18, Toledo 19, Utah State 20, Southern Miss 21, Louisiana Tech 22, Troy 23, Western Michigan 24, and making their debut in our poll in their second year in the FBS comes Kennesaw State after their big win this past week.
You're not going to put them above Louisiana Tech?
People always want to go to the head-to-head.
Dude, you got to give the Al some respect there.
They did. I'm interested to see how Louisiana Tech looks this week. For much of the season, to me, Louisiana Tech looked like the best team in Conference USA. They certainly had the best defense. However, this past week was their first week without their star linebacker Colby Fields, and it wasn't a good week for them.
I think so. I'm not going to accuse you of this because I know how deeply invested you are in G5, but I do feel like with Louisiana Tech nationally, if I can say that relative to like G5 propaganda, there is a bit of echo chamber when it comes to their defense. Going back even as far as last year, a lot of the results, they're preying upon facing hard situations. Like they caught the beginning of the Malachi Nelson downfall and ripped him up for like 4 or 5 interceptions or something like that. You look at who they are holding to these poor offensive outputs. That like it's not good offenses. So I don't know. I have been hesitant to give their defense too much credit. And the offense, I had like at a certain point in the offseason, I really started to buy into the idea of their offense. Like Tony Franklin, like that was Jared Goff's OC. Like, let's throw it 70 times a game. Let's have some fun. And it was like pretty clear within the first couple of weeks, it's just not going to happen. Like they're going to scrap and claw. They're going to run the quarterback. They're going to throw out all these guys that before this year, I'm like, if you threw these names to me, it's like, who are these guys? And just pray to kind of get to 20 points and like hope that defense does enough. So it's just not, they're not for me. But dude, I will never abandon the Texas State GJ Kenny bandwagon, but like, what the F are these past 2 weeks, dude? This is like a repeatable offense on his part. Every year he finds ways to lose these games. It's like, it's not okay, dude. Like it's totally inexcusable.
100%. Of our rankings, Texas State and Toledo are probably the ones I have the most heartburn with. I didn't even have Toledo ranked in my top 25. And then I had Texas State closer to 20. But yeah, you're right. Like, and the thing that like doesn't make any sense to me is like people are still throwing around GJ's name like he'd be a hot pick for a power four. And I'm like, there's just no way. Like, you know, like he's got talent, offense and defense, and every year he loses games he shouldn't lose.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any P4 could take him seriously as a candidate for a head coaching job. Maybe they might want him as an OC, but I just don't think he's done near enough to warrant any consideration for a P4 head coaching job. It happens every year.
The bigger conversation and so Chris and I did record a BTR earlier today. Rare for us. Like we do it like once a month, and it happened to be today when you and I are recording as well. And we started to try and have this like greater conversation of like, what should your head coach actually be doing? So I threw the question on Chris and then didn't give like my opinions too much. So I'll give some of them here. I don't want my head coach calling plays. Like you have too much that from a program running perspective, if you're like, you should not be calling plays as a head coach, in my opinion. But then it's also like all the off-field stuff is like so important. Obviously, like recruiting, like game week prep, just like culture, all that stuff is like, that is hypercritical for me. But then like in terms of just like game day stuff, so like I like CEO model for sure. But then even like I think it kind of comes with the territory that a lot of these coaches are control freaks by nature. Like just to get to the point of being a head coach of an FBS football program, you have to have some of that in your blood. But like even I would be okay with my head coach even absolving himself or being told like, dude, you're not gonna make the decisions when it comes to like what we're doing in terms of fourth downs and stuff like that, game management stuff. Like take everything away from like I don't need my coach making any sort of decisions on a down to down basis. We can outsource everything. And just like that guy could be in charge of recruiting, like game week management and culture, and like everything else can be outsourced. And I think that if in that model, GJ could be incredibly successful. But like he is the common denominator across 3 seasons where like go back to 2023, that Arkansas State game where they give up 70 points against a bad Arkansas State team is inexcusable. Last year against Georgia State, like that was basically a carbon copy of these past 2 weeks against Troy, and who they lose to 2 weeks ago. South?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look it up.
I think it was South, South Alabama. But this is not okay. But I think, I mean, we're still boys. Like I'm still down with GJ, but like something needs to change.
No, they haven't played South Alabama yet. So
okay.
Let's see. Arkansas State again. 31-30. It was Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker decided to have a day that day.
Amazing.
They hadn't done much up to that point, but they had a day, and we'll get to it. But this week they got Marshall, and Marshall's playing really well.
They are.
And then they got JMU. So like it's not going to get any easier. And then they got Louisiana and Southern Miss before ending the season with Monroe and South Alabama. So not a easy road ahead for the Bobcats. Getting back to this the Hero Sports poll. So the biggest differences between our poll, our votes, as you see on the screen, and what they had. The consensus media poll has the UTSA Roadrunners coming in at number 24. So obviously one team's ranked there. It's not ranked in our poll. And the team that is not ranked in the consensus is Utah State. They would have been number 28 in the consensus poll. Some of the biggest differences, we are much lower on Western Kentucky. We have them at 15. The consensus poll has them at 9. 6 spots. I'm sorry. I've seen enough Western Kentucky games. Like, they're not a top 10 G5 team. They might be the best team in Conference USA.
Dive into that a little more?
What's that?
Can we talk about that a little more?
Sure.
I haven't gotten eyes on all the games, but I was pleasantly surprised that they just kind of got out of Dodge, got victories against Missouri State and Delaware. Like those two teams entering the year, I didn't have high expectations for them, and it became pretty clear pretty quick that like these are quality teams.
Yep.
So like I did not expect them to come out of those games 2-0. And just even though it wasn't pretty, right, and a little luck in their favor, sure, like just getting those wins, I think was more than enough. But what did you have higher expectations?
I think that's probably why I probably have higher expectations, particularly for them on offense than what we've seen. And they are winning the game. I mean, the game against Delaware, they shouldn't have won. Delaware was the better team. But they won. They got the W.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't. There's not a single team in our top 10 that I think wouldn't beat Western Kentucky pretty good.
True.
You
know what?
I could make a case that maybe they should be behind Connecticut, but that's probably as high as I personally would feel comfortable putting them.
In the context of top 10, I think, yeah, you're right. I heard you saying anything other than WKU number 1, and like my senses went up like, oh, gotta defend the team. But no, I think that's totally fair.
Hawaii, we have them at 18. The consensus has them at 12. 12 seems a little rich, but I do think they're probably a top 15 team.
It's starting to come together.
Absolutely, they are. Mike Alejado is playing like we had expected and hoped for this season. Troy, we have them at 23. They have them at 17, 6 spots. That team's, in my opinion, has made since they lost Goose Crowder, like they've made a quick turnaround because the first few games without Goose were not pretty. They were pretty ugly. But then the last 2 weeks, man, Tucker Kilcrease has been impressive and played really well. And so, shout out to Troy. And then the last one that we're lower on is Southern Miss. We have them at 21. They have them at 16. Only 5 spots difference, but I don't know. Like when I was doing my own rankings, it kind of felt like 12 to even to 25 was kind of like, a juggling act, if you will, and you're kind of nitpicking like how you're going to rank them. Folks always want to go to the head-to-head. But okay, well, yeah, I get Delaware beat Connecticut, but guess what? They lost to Western Kentucky. You can't just strictly look at the head-to-head. People talk about Louisiana Tech. Well, Louisiana Tech beat Southern Miss. They did, but they also got the doors blown off them by Kennesaw State this week. So you can't just go head-to-head. It just doesn't work that way. There's a couple teams that we're much higher on than consensus. One of them, I'm personally not higher on, we've already talked about, is Texas State. We have them at 13. The consensus has them at 23. Like I said, I think in my half of our votes, I had them 19 or 20. Ohio, we have them at 12 versus the consensus at 19. We've always been higher on Ohio. We had Ohio in our top 5 to start the season. And I want to say the consensus poll had them somewhere between 11 and 15. They had the bad week 2 weeks ago, right? I still think they're the most. I think they are the best MAC team. So to me, that's a top 15 team. And then Delaware, we have them at 17. The consensus has them at 22. 5 spot difference. I don't know. I feel like Delaware. You could make a case for Delaware being the best team in Conference USA, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're buttoned up. They're really good.
Yeah, they have exceeded my expectations. Before the season, if I was picking between Missouri State and Delaware, I would have thought Missouri State was going to have the better year. But Delaware has been super impressive. Kind I said, they beat themselves in the Western Kentucky game, unfortunately. But those are kind of the big differences. We'll see what happens this week. Kennesaw State, like you said, has been playing really well. Western Michigan's been playing really well. Said Toledo, to me, they're a team on the slide. The same with Louisiana Tech. The Americans, man, like you just look at the American, like how tough the American is. Right? You got Memphis, South Florida, Tulane, Navy, North Texas, East Carolina. Not to mention, like, playing a team like Army, right? Like maybe it's a down year for Army, but anytime you play a triple option, it's always a challenge. The American is super strong this year, and it seems like the G5 rep will likely come from the American, but they could also just cannibalize each other, right? And then open the door, for someone else. I was hoping that someone else would be my Old Dominion Monarchs. Unfortunately, I feel like after that loss to Marshall, they have a lot of work to do to get back into that conversation. They definitely can't lose anymore, and they're gonna have to, I feel like, win them all in pretty convincing fashion. And they're gonna need help, right? I think at this point, everyone's gonna need help from the American in terms of them kind of cannibalizing each other. But we'll see. All right, that's going to do it for our news and notes. You ready to jump into our Week 7 in review and then our preview? This week, we're going to do something a little bit different now that we're in conference play. We're going to go conference by conference. So we're going to talk about what happened in Week 7, and then we'll preview the Week 8 games, and we'll just kind of go down the line conference by conference. We're going to start with the Pac-12. You got Washington State versus Ole Miss there in Week 7. Wasn't a pretty game, but to me the biggest difference was Washington State just couldn't get it done on third down. They were 2 for 10. It was a good game, like from a score perspective. Like I would have expected Ole Miss to blow the doors off the Cougars. Didn't really kind of happen. Washington State was down 17-14 in the fourth quarter. They would have 8 plays for 11 yards, and then they would punt before Ole Miss would score another touchdown to go up 24-15 or 14 with 6:51 left. Washington State would respond with a touchdown of their own, but then a sack on 3rd and 4 kind of sealed the deal for Ole Miss. Just kind of to me, it looked like Ole Miss kind of playing with their food, so to speak, right? Getting a G5 or getting Washington State kind of, in the beginning or in the middle of SEC play. I don't know. Did you get a chance to catch this one?
I didn't. It's always going to be tougher for me personally to get eyes on stuff during the day on Saturdays. My time is so accounted for. Nighttime is when I generally lock in, which makes this time of year super annoying. There's less night games as we progress through the schedule, which is frustrating. But then during the week, I'll try and catch cut-ups for games where interesting stuff happened during the day that I didn't get a chance to catch. But I didn't get a chance to get eyes on this one yet.
Wake Forest versus Oregon State. Not much to talk about this game, although we talked about earlier. Bray getting fired. It was 32-0 before Oregon State would even get on the board with just under 12 minutes to go. Oregon State was terrible for first and second downs. The defense, everything was just nothing was working for Oregon State. And as we saw, Coach Bray got fired after an 0-7 start. I don't know. Hopefully things can backtrack. If they lose this week, maybe they won't win a game. I don't know. Because they have an FCS team this week. But yeah, not much else to talk about this
week.
Dude,
low key 10 p.m. banger on the CW this week. The Lafayette game. That's good. That's what's up.
So moving over to Week 8, Washington State plays at Virginia, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Let me bring up the spreads here. Virginia's favored by 17.5 with an over/under of 56.5. Today, the weather in Charlottesville, what they're predicting, 65 degrees and sunny. I expect the Virginia to roll. Virginia's played really well. Yeah, I
feel like it's starting to come together for
expectations. I don't know, man. Like I think last week was really more of a case of Ole Miss not playing well or overlooking them than it was Washington State playing well. I think Virginia's ranked, they're number 18 this week, and so I think that they've been playing well, man. Like they could be. I mean, they've exceeded my expectations.
Yeah,
I didn't have, and now my expectations weren't very high, so that's not too hard. But I did catch their game against Florida State. That was an awesome game, and I don't know. I think Virginia probably rolls in this one. If I had to pick, I'm taking UVA and laying. It's a lot of points, but it's in Charlottesville. I would take UVA and lay the points. All right, the game you mentioned just a moment ago, 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, Lafayette at Corvallis for Oregon State. I don't see a line on this game and ESPN. Weather, 59 degrees, looks like cloudy. Oregon State should get the W here, right? I mean, like, if you're going to fire the coach, you're going to get that extra juice. A good week to do it, right? Because like you should have won this game regardless. But at least it lets them, kind of work out the kinks, if you will, before they get into the rest of their schedule. They have Washington State, Sam Houston, Tulsa, and Washington State again coming up. So Washington State, 2 of the next 5 weeks. Sam Houston, not good. Although they seem to play inspired this past weekend. I don't know. They probably get 2 wins, right? They beat Lafayette and beat Sam Houston. We'll see what happens against Washington State and against Tulsa. But yeah, Beavers probably get some juice this week. I know we have some folks from Beaver Nation that listen to us. So hey, you should get a W this week. Go and celebrate. It might be your only one on the 2025 season. All right, moving over to Conference USA, we had the Missouri State Bears versus Middle Tennessee this week. As we talked earlier, this was kind of the coming out party, the first start for Deuce Bailey. I thought as a true freshman, I thought he looked really good. Yep. Middle Tennessee, like Derek Mason's got to be on the hot seat. Like,
it's a question of when, not if they're right. Like,
absolutely. I mean, they just killed themselves with turnovers, man. Like every week,
tons of mistakes. There's no there's no identity on offense. It's just like, yes, they throw it more than they run, but it doesn't feel like there's no real game plan there. I don't know. It's just it's pretty clearly not working. Like, let's just end this. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, and like to me, like I felt like at least last year, for the most part, they were getting the ball in the hands of their big playmakers, right? Whether it's Holden Willis or Amari Kelly. And like this year, I feel like Jaquel Middlebrook is clearly the best offensive player they have. Like, you need to get him the ball as much as possible. But maybe it's because the defense isn't so great, and they've got to sling it around a little bit more. But man, like, it's the Derek Mason experience is not going well for the Blue Raiders. And to your point, yeah, I expect him to be fired, if not in season, at the end of the season. It's just another failed experiment there at for the Blue Raiders. But kudos to Deuce Bailey. Had an amazing game. We'll see if he gets the start this week or if Jacob Clark will be back. Like I said earlier, they said Jacob Clark is questionable for this week. Liberty at UTEP. Liberty gets the win 19-8. Ethan Vasco got the start for Liberty. They're a very different team when Ethan Vasco's there. But they're not a good team. UTEP's just worse. Skylar Locklear got the start, but they just kind of rotated him and Malachi Nelson back and forth the entire game. I don't know. Like this was like in my opinion, two very mediocre teams. That Liberty offensive line is not very good. I thought the UTEP defense played well in the game. The UTEP offense, not so much. Part of that I feel like is because like the quarterback, the musical chair at quarterback. And I feel like Locklear and Nelson's styles are very different. Nelson seems to like always want to throw the YOLO ball, right? Throw it deep. Whereas Locklear is more of like I feel like a gritty game manager. He'll run the ball kind of guy. I don't know. Like I expected more out of Scotty Walden team this year. I thought maybe they would take the next step and maybe be a contender in the Conference USA. That's not happening. And Liberty, a team that I had high expectations for when the year started, like they're just not good, man.
Yeah. UTEP, I think it probably is as simple as they put all their eggs in the Malachi basket, and it's not happening. Like the guy has no pocket presence. Can't. I think this offense is supposed to put a lot on the quarterback's plate, and he just can't handle it. So it's just not going to work. It's like then we're back to Locklear, which is where we were for a lot of last year. And yeah, every now and then a flash of like a decent play, but not talking about a consistently successful offense.
Yeah,
I'm not totally sure what the offense is supposed to look like, but I don't think we're going to see it this year, and I don't know what that means for Walden in the future.
I mean, I think he probably gets some more time, but it seems like next year 3 would kind of be the make or break for Walden. Liberty, I don't like. They kind of got decimated in the portal in the spring window on the defense. The offensive line, I don't really know. Like I don't think they really lost anybody in that spring portal. But man, that Liberty offensive line that's to me that's the root of their problems. That offensive line is not good. They can't block. And with Vasco is back there, he's kind of running for his life, so to speak. But because of that, like their offense just doesn't look very good. But they have to have that threat of Vasco running the ball to be effective. And we saw that when he wasn't in there, right? Merdinger wasn't much of a threat to run, and then the freshman Ethan Hawk wasn't much of a threat to throw the ball. And so that's not going to work. But yeah, two very mediocre teams in my opinion. Going over to the Thursday Conference USA games, we had Louisiana Tech at Kennesaw State, and that was a 7 p.m. Eastern game. Kennesaw State rolled 35-7. Dexter Williams got the start. He played well, 290 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Louisiana Tech played all 3 of their quarterbacks. As we mentioned on last week's show, Trey Kukuk was back and was going to play. Louisiana Tech started off hot, got a touchdown on their opening drive, but that was kind of it. The third quarter, all Kennesaw State, 1 touchdown. The defense forced a turnover on downs and an interception. That interception led to a fourth quarter touchdown to put Kennesaw State up 28-7, and it was all Owls in the Veer and Hoot. Were you surprised that Williams got the start and not Odom?
I
was.
They both were hurt previously, right?
Right. They were both kind of banged up, and maybe
Odom
Odom is still banged up. I don't know, but
yeah,
I thought the offense looked better with him than it did with Dexter.
definitely. Yeah, if both were healthy, I assume they would have gone Odom. Now it maybe gets a little more interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, Louisiana Tech, the offense hasn't looked good all year.
Yeah.
I thought the defense really carried them, and then I don't know. We'll see what happens this week. But losing Colby Fields was a big loss for them. He was, in my opinion, he would have been the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. That's how
Is he done for
talented.
the year?
Yep, he's done for the year.
Sure.
So that's a huge loss for the Bulldogs. All right, this next game, in terms of the score and the game, really shocked me. Jacksonville State at Sam Houston. That was an 8 p.m. game Thursday night. Jacksonville State won 29-27. I was surprised this game was that close. Jacksonville
Did you get
State,
eyes on this?
I did.
I did as well.
Jacksonville State did what I expected them to do in terms of just keep feeding Cam Cook. And they did that, but I was surprised at how well the offense for Sam Houston did. Now, and I mean, if you really even think about it, I think you can make a case that Sam Houston should have won the game, right? It was those Hunter Watson fumbles that kind of killed him.
Yeah, it warmed my soul that they were real willing to lean into, or they, as in Jacksonville State, was willing to lean into just every play is just let's just let Creel and Cook do their thing. Creel is so fun. I'm happy that the spirit of Rich Rod is at least still at Jacksonville State, and it feels like Sam Houston State, from a game plan perspective, is finally starting to just willing to go back to just like lean into what Hunter Watson does well. Instead of trying to force them into this like spread throw and actually like progress through reads, like try and play that game. Just let Hunter Watson run the Hunter Watson system, and I think that's why this game was close.
Yeah, 100%. We've talked about on the show before that I always thought he was a weird fit for a Longo offense, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think you're right. If they want to win games, that's how it's gonna have to go. As long as Hunter Watson is the quarterback, it'd be interesting to kind of see now that they're 0-6. And I think that's 2 of the last 3 seasons they've started off 0-6. However, this year feels different than their first year in the FBS. I felt like their first year they were 0-6, but they were like competitive in all the games. This game against Jacksonville State, I feel like was the first one where they were actually competitive, and maybe you could make a case they should have won the game. It'd be interesting to kind of see what Longo does moving forward, right? Hunter Watson's out of eligibility. They'd have to run the table to make a bowl game. Does he just make a decision and say, hey, you know what, this year it's a lost season, and let's put Mabry back out there and kind of see what he can do? I don't know. I mean, Mabry wasn't super impressive the times he did get to play, but I could see them making a decision to kind of making a switch just to see what they think they have for next year. I don't know. You got any thoughts?
I haven't had the pleasure of watching Mabry yet. I've heard it was not so great. I have so much respect for how Hunter Watson will just, like, that dude is such a leader, such a winner, will put the whole team, the whole school on his back and do whatever it takes to try and win the game. So I don't want to see that guy sitting on the sidelines for the remainder of his college career. I want to see him get a chance to leave it all out on the field and get some victories for Sam Houston. So personally, that's what I would like to see.
All right, let's move over to the Week 8 games in Conference USA. Tuesday night, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, we got New Mexico State at Liberty. Liberty is favored by 9.5 with an over-under of 46.5. That seems like a big number to me. Like, I don't. New Mexico State is a lot better than I think they get credit for. It wouldn't shock me to see New Mexico State win this game outright.
Tough. I agree. It wouldn't be shocking. Uh,
Liberty
every
just
time,
the offensive line is just so bad, man. Like,
yeah, I've really been enjoying this first week of CUSA midweek games. Like, was really enjoyable for me. Not for the least of reasons because my bets went really well. But I feel like you put these two teams in a game, like what outcome would really surprise me? I don't know. I think that either team has the potential to come out play really flat, and if the other team does not, then they could win by like 20 plus points.
that's true. I mean, but it feels like I don't know. It feels like this is going to be a close game to me. I do not like Liberty in that spread of 9.5. I think their offensive line is just too bad to justify that against a team like New Mexico State. Like, it's not like they're playing it. I don't know. Like, if Liberty was going to be favored by that many points, it feels like it would need to be against like an FCS team. I don't even like if the Sam Houston that we saw last week showed up. I wouldn't think they would be favored that many against Sam Houston. I don't know. I like New Mexico State in this game. I think Logan Fife gets them to the win. I think the New Mexico State defensive line is a decent defensive line. Jamal Thompson Jr. I think they're going to be able to, get some pressure on Vasco. And like, if you can control Vasco, especially his running, I think you can you can beat Liberty. Evan Dickens, I think, is out. Right?
He might be back. He was it sounded last week that he was clearing concussion protocol, and then it didn't happen, I guess. So you know how it is, like concussions, like could be interminable. Jamie Chadwell does not seem to have the best record in these things with the Ryan Berger history. But I would think that there's a decent chance that Dickens is back.
Nonetheless, I expect a good game, but give me New Mexico State in this one. The other Tuesday game, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU, Florida International at Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky favored by 9.5, over under 56.5. I like Western Kentucky in this one. Do you think we finally get the offensive explosion that we saw the first 2 weeks and we haven't seen since, really, for Western Kentucky? Or
yeah, I can see it. So some in the same vein as what I was saying before, I think that the lack of fireworks from Western the last couple of games, I think you could chalk it up more to just Delaware and Missouri State being buttoned up as programs, not just gonna like let you roll over them and throw for 4 bills type deal. So yeah, I think it could get back to that. But I mean, Willie Simmons has done a good job. It's been kind of peaks and valleys, ebbs and flows week to week with FIU, but still promising trajectory. Did Jenkins get hurt last game?
Not to my knowledge.
Sure. Did he just get pulled against the UConn?
I was going to look at the box score. I didn't actually see the game.
I know that he like the other guy, the backup Joe Posanski.
Joe Posanski is 7 for 12, 100 yards. He threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see anything that said Jenkins got hurt. Obviously, just looking at the box score, like he didn't. I mean, he was 15 for 24 for 74 yards with a pick. Didn't really do anything on the ground. They were down big at the half. I don't know. It feels like to me, like without having I haven't seen anything that says he got hurt, but it kind of feels like maybe he was just kind of ineffective. I'm looking through the game recap here and see if there's anything about him getting hurt on ESPN. I don't see anything.
No doubt.
Well, they just kind of struggled with turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions. So my guess is he was ineffective, and they decided to go a different direction. All right, moving over to Wednesday in Conference USA, we got Delaware at Jacksonville State.
That is an exciting game.
Yes, Delaware is favored by 2.5. over under of 57.5. It should be Nick Minicucci versus Cam Cook, right? Like two guys you got that I think at this point got to be the two front runners for Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. I give the nod to Cam Cook, but like those two guys feel like the two front runners at this point. Could be lots of offensive fireworks.
If we were betting and there were odds, I think you'd still have to have MacGyver near the top, because I think that there's a good chance that by the end of the year, like, he's the best. He's the quarterback on the team that wins it, and they win it largely because of him. But then there comes Caden Creel's odds are creeping up too as a long shot. He took over midseason, but hey, I think he gets Jacksonville State to a bowl game, and like that, he ran for only 124 yards, right on like 23 carries or something. But I think maybe not this week against like a good Delaware team, but he's like, with that amount of opportunity, he's gonna have games where he runs for 200 the rest of the year. Like, I'm really bummed I only have him on one team. I would love to. There's like a few G5 guys that, looking back on it, like I wish I had been on more on top of waivers and just paid whatever it costs. Like, I would love to have Creel. I would blow my whole budget and then real money to get Liam Sarka on some dynasty teams, and I don't have him on anything. It sucks. But yeah, it's gonna be so fun. I think just going forward this year and then looking ahead to next year as well for those guys.
Yeah, it should be a fun game, high scoring affair. I do like Delaware in the game, but I mean, if I don't have a strong feel. I mean, if I had to pick, I think I would take Delaware and lay the 2.5 points. But nonetheless, I expect a good game, high scoring game. Maybe the overs to play. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, Jacksonville's offense and so run heavy, can they support both teams getting close to 60 points from just from a time of possession standpoint, right? Jacksonville State's going to want to run it so much that I don't know if the game script would allow for that. All right, the last Conference USA game for Week 8. Two really bad teams. 7 p.m. Wednesday night. UTEP at Sam Houston. UTEP favored by 2.5. Over under 47.5. Maybe this is an under game, right? Like, I don't know.
I think this is the week we get Sam Houston. We get Hunter Watson's for their first win of the year.
They get their first win against UTEP. I mean, I gotta feel Scotty Walden is not going to play the quarterback musical chairs this week, right? It just feels like he's got to throw Locklear out there and just ride it.
When do we get to see the JP Pickles offense come back?
Pretty sure JP's gone. He's not. I don't think he's at UTEP anymore, is he?
Oh, really?
I could be wrong. I believe. Pretty sure.
JP, yeah, he's at Mercer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he transferred. Yeah. So no, but you still got Cade McConnell there. Mildly surprised he hasn't gotten a shot, right? But he must look really bad if Nelson and Locklear are the two best options they have. I don't know. To your point, this is not a game. I mean, I'll watch the game because it's on, but it's not one I'm looking forward to. And I think it's a great opportunity, assuming Hunter Watson plays and gets to start. A great opportunity for Sam Houston to kind of get their first win of the year against another Texas school. So I think that I would think that's enough motivation for Longo to at least, hey, let's get the win. Let's beat another Texas team. Hunter Watson, shines in Week 8 for the Bearcats. All right, Week 7 in the American, we had East Carolina versus Tulane. This game, like, it was a fun game, but I don't necessarily want to say it was an exciting game. I mean, like if you're going to pick one storyline, the biggest storyline was Tulane having to settle for field goals. I think they ended up kicking like 5 field goals in the game, something like that. And they just couldn't punch it in the end zone. The one touchdown they did get was a 63-yard play, right? So it wasn't like it was a big drive. It was kind of a like, I don't know, fluky play, if you will. They killed themselves often with penalties. They had 11 penalties for 96 yards in the game. A lot of those penalties were in big situations. Tulane was not good on third down, 3 for 10 for third down. The Tulane defense played well. They held ECU into check, held them to 19 third downs, but then they allowed them to convert 10 of those 19. Most of the times running the ball, which is like abnormal for ECU, right? You would have expected like them to pass it. As I said, they had to settle. Tulane had to settle for field goals often. The fourth quarter, Tulane would have a fumble, and ECU was unable to turn that into points. That seemed like the big turning point in the game, because then that next play, or the next possession for Tulane, was when they had that 63-yard touchdown pass. ECU's offense couldn't seem to get any constant progress, or get anything really working against that Tulane defense other than the run. Tulane gets the W, but they didn't. I don't know. Like, I know, like, I was Tulane's the team I picked for the college football playoff, for the G5 rep, but man, like, that offense scares me. I think they have a good defense, but the offense just doesn't look great.
I hear you.
Yeah. So anyway, Tulane escapes with the win, which is what they needed to do. Moving on to the Friday. This was the game of the week, right? The game of the week in the G5. South Florida at North Texas. South Florida wins it 63-36. In the first quarter, turnovers. 3 turnovers by South Florida, 1 by North Texas. You had Miles Coleman fumbled a punt, and that seemed to kind of be like the turning point when South Florida kind of like took over. They would go on to score 4 touchdowns in under 4 minutes to end the first half and start the second half. They were up 42-21 with under 12 to play in the third quarter. And then from that point on, each time North Texas would score touchdowns, South Florida, but at that point it was too late. Like, the turnovers is kind of what really killed North Texas. Bestamaker did not have a good game.
No, it felt like defensively they were going to be able to keep it together and get enough stops to where these teams could just kind of be on a level plane, but eventually the dam just broke. I still have faith in Skylar Cassidy and that defense at large in terms of like this year being an improvement. I saw tweets during the game that kind of we're talking about how hard the North Texas defense is. I don't think it's that. I don't think that is not really my takeaway from this game.
No,
that South Florida offense puts so much pressure on you that, like, when you're on the field that consistently as a result of turnovers, eventually it's just going to become impossible to hold up.
100%. I mean, like we talked about it all off season, was like you're never going to have like a great defense at North Texas, right? Just because even if the offense is successful, like it scores so quickly, and like the time of possession is generally never going to be in their favor. So the defense is going to be on the field a lot, right? And they're going to wear down. When you add turnovers on top of that, it just exacerbates the problem. So I tend to agree with you. I think Skylar Cassidy was a good hire. I think he's gotten them to where they are now in terms of the defense. It's just the turnovers, man. They've got to do something about the turnovers. I mean, that's the reason they lost this game. It's the reason why they almost lost the Army game. Yeah, they got to get that under control. But I to your point, I think they can do it. I think they could win out the rest of the year. And for me, South Florida is the best team in the G5. They have the most talent. Their defense is playing well. If there is one criticism for me for South Florida, is that I think they far too often on offense rely on Byron Brown to bail them out. And not to say he can't, but like I just would like to be able to see. Sometimes I feel like there's like that's just the game plan, right? Like let Byron do his thing versus us trying to scheme up ways to get receivers open or to create some more explosive plays other than Byron having to do it with his legs all the time.
I hear you. I feel the same way. I in tandem with that, I feel like the passing offense, will it be there when they need it to, and like
Right.
close games when they need to go there? I'm hesitant.
Yes. And to me, I would like to see sometimes in his games like them trying to work that more, right? Because there's going to come a time when they're going to need it. And maybe that's against Memphis here in a couple of weeks, but like that's my biggest complaint or gripe with South Florida is like, and speaking of South, like Golish is another hot name, right? In terms of folks, I think that a hot name to go to the P4, but like I don't know. I feel like it feels like to me slightly premature. He had a good year 1. Last year was not good. He's having a good year 3, but it seems like, and maybe that's just because maybe there's going to be so many vacancies that he's going to get that shot. But it just seems I don't know. For me, it seems a little bit premature. All right, let's move over to the Saturday American games. We had Charlotte at Army. Army wins this one 24-7. Hellam's got the start there at quarterback for Army, and as we've seen in the past, his legs are a big weapon. I think that's why they prefer him over Coleman. Feels like he's the better runner. I don't know. Not much to say in this game. It's all Army. They dominated on the ground, 305 rushing yards to 68. They were better on third and fourth down conversions. Obviously, with Army, they're gonna shorten the game in turn. With their running game, they ran it 63 times and they doubled up Charlotte in time of possession. That's just it's just what Army does, right? Classic recipe for success for Army. Charlotte's not a good team. It might take some time for Tim Albin to get things turned around there. We expressed concern in the preseason about Charlotte and their lack of depth. They seem to have some talent, but their lack of talent and depth on the offensive defensive line was a huge concern. And then no Connor Harrell, right? Like you lose that dual threat quarterback. Like that's a big loss for him. Like it's a rough year for Charlotte. All right, Navy at Temple. Navy escapes with the win, 32-31. Controversial win. Lots of scuttlebutt on social media the last couple of days about about the refs screwing Temple in the game. Temple played well. Navy just seems to like. I don't know, like the last couple of weeks, they find a way to win these games, these close games that maybe on the surface you thought wouldn't have been close. Surprisingly, Temple was better on third downs. They were 6 for 12 versus 3 for 11, and Temple had more total yards, 520 versus 384. It's if you. I guess you look to like maybe a turning point in the game. 6.5 minutes to left. The game's tied at 24. Temple has the ball. Jay Decker is Ducker is just chewing up the clock, running. He counted for 28 of the 75 yards on the drive. He scored a touchdown to go up 7. In the ensuing Navy drive, there was a pass interference call against Temple, but the back-breaking play was a 4th and 1 from the Navy 49-yard line, and Blake Horvath takes it 51 yards to the house. Navy decides to go for 2, and they convert and go for the win and get the win. Temple, man, like the job Casey Keeler's doing is impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah,
he is a good.
My expectations.
He is a good coach. Like I am. I would. We said this. I said this last week. Like he is someone I think that should get some consideration for Coach of the Year. It's probably not going to happen because of Temple's record. But like I just feel like much like the job like Bronco Mendenhall did at New Mexico last year. I mean, they only won 5 games, but that was an impressive coaching job. I kind of feel the same way about Casey Keeler. You got to wonder, like, is he maybe like a dark horse? Like if a Boston College or, if a job like that were to open up in the P4, would they, I mean, he's an older guy, so I don't know, but like, I mean, the guy just wins, right? And it seems like it's not going to take him too long to get Temple to be a competitive program in the American.
Absolutely.
All right, next up we got UAB at Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic wins this one 53-33. As we discussed earlier, Trent Dilfer got fired. This is classic UAB game. It's a shootout. But the Owls kind of seemed to take control of this game early. They scored a touchdown on their first 4 possessions, while UAB had 4 punts. 2 minutes into the second quarter, and it was the Owls on top 28-0. And that was just kind of, it was done at that point. UAB, a lot of penalties, 14 penalties for 118 yards. FAU, though, like, I mean, they win the game, but, I don't know. I think I had higher expectations for this offense than what we're seeing, right? Like, they're slinging it around, but they're not doing much, right? Like, it's a lot of, short passes. It seems very inefficient. In this game, they weren't good on third down. They're only 3 of 10, but they did convert fourth down 4 of 5 times. UAB had 11 possessions in this game, and they faced third down 17 times. UAB, as we said before, like, defense terrible, offense generally plays well. They have to outscore everyone, and that's why Dilfer was fired. Man, what are your thoughts on FAU this season? Like, are they disappointing?
It feels about right. Defense not good. Offense putting up points, but like not exactly the most elegant way in terms of how things are playing out. Messer more or less, like, yeah, maybe it's not quite at the level we were expecting, but I wouldn't call him anything close to a bust.
Yeah, it's not a bust. It just feels like, I don't know, like and probably more like for Veldkamp, I probably had a little bit higher expectations. But I mean, he's throwing it 40 times a game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I think some people, I wasn't someone that had the unrealistic expectations of thinking this is going to be Bailey Zappi and Jared Stearns 2.0, which I think some people did. But I still kind of thought it'd be a little bit better than it is. Yeah, but FAU was a mess before he got there. We'll see what he can do in year 2 there at FAU. Rice versus UTSA, the final American Conference game of the week. UTSA wins this one 61-13. UTSA got the party started early with their do-it-all, the man, their offensive MVP, Robert Henry Jr., a touchdown run, followed by 2 Owen McCown touchdown passes to give the Roadrunners a 21-3 lead after 1. UTSA would add another 17 points in the second, and at half they'd be up 38-10. And then in the third quarter, it got even uglier. Rice got the ball first, threw an interception that got returned for a pick six. Then they fumbled, and they got returned 40 yards or so for a touchdown. Then they have a turnover and downs. UTSA does punt it back, pins them at their own 4, and then UTSA gets a safety on that next possession. And then you see a one-play, 57-yard touchdown run by the freshman Will Henderson III. And at that point, it's UTSA 61-10. Rice, like, for this Rice offense to work, I feel like Chase Jenkins or a dual threat has to be the quarterback.
Injuries feel like they're starting to pile up. Jenkins got hurt. Quentin Jackson got hurt.
Yes. And like Quentin Jackson is like really the only explosive player they have on offense. And so he was on, from what I understand, Quentin Jackson was on a snap count, a snap count. And so he was hurt before. So he was kind of limited in the game. And then like we said earlier, Chase Jenkins got hurt. UTSA, though, is kind of, other than Robert Henry Jr., I feel like it's kind of been a disappointment in terms of my expectations. I mean, Robert Henry's kind of carried them to this point. He's been their workhorse. I had higher expectations for this passing offense headed into the year than what they've delivered on. All right, let's move over to the Week 8 a preview in the American. So Thursday night, we got Tulsa at East Carolina. East Carolina favored by 16.5, over under 54.5. As we mentioned earlier, Baylor Hayes getting the start there for the Golden Hurricane. I don't know. East Carolina, I think, wins this game. The East Carolina defense is like played better than expectations. It seems like East Carolina, like they beat the team they're supposed to beat. They've lost to the teams that were better than them. The BYUs of the world, the Tulanes of the world. Tulsa feels like the inferior team here. I expect ECU to kind of take care of business. I'm still slightly disappointed in that ECU offense. Like, to me, going into the season, the ECU passing offense, I felt like I was pretty confident in. The defense is what scared me in terms of how well they would play. And it seems like the opposites happened. Like, the passing offense has really only gotten going against the worst teams that they played.
Yeah, I had high expectations as well. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, just throw to one of the Smiths every play and do cool shit.
Right. I mean, like, it's a very up and down with especially with like Anthony. I don't think Yannick's had nearly what the year that people would have expected. Anthony's kind of been boom or bust. Kind of like I said, and that passing offense is boom or bust. When they play the crappier teams, they're able to run it up. When they play a decent team like Tulane, BYU, etc., the passing offense just isn't able to get things going, and it's kind of disappointing to a certain extent because that defense, in my opinion, has exceeded expectations. That defense has played well enough for them to, if the offense had lived up to expectations, they could have been one of the American teams that we're talking about, right? Like, they could have been like right up there with North Texas. And to my surprise, it's been the passing offense has kind of been the letdown for the Pirates.
So 350-4 this week for Hauser.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's going to happen. Anthony Smith's probably going to have, both Smith brothers probably, put up a touchdown and over 100 yards, but they're playing Tulsa.
Yep. Let's go.
All right. We got Army at Tulane Saturday at noon. Tulane favored by 9.5, over under 46.5. I don't know, man. Like, Tulane's the better team, but I always feel like anytime you're playing a service academy, it's a tough road, right? Like, they're just it's hard to prepare for, so different, limits possessions. I thought ECU was able to run the ball decently against Tulane. And so I think if Army doesn't have a lot, it doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, I expect Tulane to win, but I think it can be a closer game than the 9.5 point spread would lead you to believe.
I can see it.
All right. Next up, we got UTSA at North Texas. North Texas favored by 4.5, over under 69.5. Before the season, Luke and I were talking about like take the overs, take the overs, take the overs. I just don't know that the UTSA offense can produce enough points to get to the over.
Yeah, this is going to be a very telling game for North Texas, right? Are they going to bounce back, be able to kind of continue to show the progression that we'd seen in every game prior to the collapse against South Florida? I still want to believe. And like you look at it, sucks because like if Navy doesn't pull that miracle out against Temple, the path for North Texas to get to the title game is like extremely realistic. Now you need a little more help. But if they can get their shit back together, it's still there. Like their schedule is not difficult. It's like, okay, one loss. Like I don't know what tiebreakers look like in this league, but like they're not going to play any of the other teams that would have one loss. So at minimum, things could be interesting for them still.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting race in the American. I like North Texas in this game. I mean, I think Robert Henry is like he's not going to score 30 points by himself, which is what you have to do in order to kind of hit that over. So as odd as it sounds, like maybe the under is the play in this game. All right. Also 3:30 on Saturday, we got Temple at Charlotte. Temple favored by 11.5, over under 48.5. Charlotte's bad. Temple is playing well. Temple's going to get the win. Expect you see a lot of Jay Ducker in this game. That's kind of what Coach Kaler wants to do, right? Run the ball, control the time possession. I don't see Charlotte being able to score or stop Temple, and so this one could be over by halftime, if maybe the first quarter. I don't know. You have anything to add? It just doesn't feel like a fun game. All right, number 22, Memphis at UAB, 4 p.m. Saturday night, ESPN2. Memphis favored by 20.5, over under of 63.5. Look for Memphis to roll, and maybe we see some of the younger guys in this game, right? Maybe they'll, maybe we'll see an Arrington Maiden or an AJ Hill. Maybe they'll get Brendan Lewis some rest. I mean, UAB, maybe they get a little bit of juice from the quarterback change, but like, I just don't think like they don't have anything on defense, right? Memphis probably gets up early, and then that's going to be it.
Yep.
Sutton Smith, DeRosier, Botifer, they all probably going to get some run. Like I said, I don't know. Like, hopefully we'll see some Arrington Maiden and AJ Hill. I would expect so, right? Just from a standpoint of them getting Brendan Lewis some rest in a game where they should not need him to get the W. All right, the final game on tap for the American in Week 8, we got Florida Atlantic at South Florida. South Florida favored by 21.5 and an over/under of 73.5. That over/under that just seems way too high to me. I don't see Florida Atlantic scoring enough points to get you there.
But doesn't South Florida score 50 plus in this game?
South Florida does. Yeah, they probably. I mean, they're probably somewhere between 48 and 52 would be my guess.
Yeah.
I just don't know that Florida Atlantic. I mean, if they get 50, you could look at what 21, 24 you need from Florida Atlantic. I mean, I guess it's possible. South Florida does have a tendency to turn the ball over, and so that could help things. I guess it's possible, but like I don't know. I don't like it. I'd feel much more comfortable of laying the 21.5 points than I do on the over under. I mean, I think South Florida they want to prove a point that they are the best in the G5, and so I don't know that they're going to rest their guys in this game. I think they're going to want to blow FAU out. Obviously, another in-state team probably adds to that as well. But I think their goal is to make the college football playoffs, and they're going to want to run it up as much as they can. So I look for South Florida to roll in this game. All right, let's move over to Week 7 in the Sun Belt. We have the Thursday night game. You got Southern Miss versus Georgia Southern, and this was a game of runs, if you will. Southern Miss was up 28-7 at half, up by 21 points. They seemed to kind of be cruising in the game, and then you get to the fourth quarter, and things really got interesting. I almost wonder if Charles Huff had flashbacks to Marshall's game against Georgia Southern last season. Georgia Southern Miss is up 38-21, fumbles it on their own 25. Georgia Southern cashes in a touchdown on their drive. Southern Miss then has 3 and out for 2 yards. Georgia Southern scores again to bring it within 10 with just over 2 minutes to go. I want to say there was 2.5 minutes left. They go for the onside kick. Southern Miss recovers it, but the Georgia Southern guy, the Southern Miss guy that recovers the onside kicks, laying there, and a Georgia Southern player just absolutely drills him. And so then they're already getting the ball at the 50-yard line because you did an onside kick, and now you give them a 15-yard penalty. And from that point, the game was over at that point. They were already in field goal range. They never kicked it. They just basically ran out the clock. In some respects, it feels like Southern Miss was kind of lucky to get the win. This kind of seems like an MO for Huff teams, right? Where they get up big, and then I don't know if they just lose interest, lose focus, and then they let teams back in. Happened last year at Marshall against Georgia Southern. Clay Helton. I mean Helton. Not Clay. Is it Clay? Is Clay the one? Clay at Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
What do you think his seat's pretty warm?
I think probably gets another year. The biggest thing that where things have started to go downhill is I think when they lost Brian Ellis to Alabama. That dude had the offense absolutely cooking. You watch, I was super invested in Georgia Southern the last year or two that he was there, and just watching his game plans play out. That dude can drop some plays. That guy can do some cool shit. He is an awesome OC, and now he's just rotting away as a tight end coach at Alabama, cooking up 20 yards a game for Josh Cuevas or whatever. But I would love to see him get another OC gig, because that, just from a pure creativity and game planning perspective, that dude is awesome. So I think I think Ryan Applin was cool when he was at Arkansas State, but I don't know how good of a job he's doing now. I feel like they are trending in the direction of a Middle Tennessee State, where it's okay, we chuck it around, but what are we actually doing here? It's just that there's no sequencing, there's no continuity. It just doesn't feel like there's a true game plan in place. And I think that is the biggest difference this year and last year too versus previous years. And that's what I don't know. He probably gets another year, but I think he needs to find another coordinator that can really make it work on offense.
It feels like they're also missing Josh Dallas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Camden
another.
Brown is awesome though.
Yeah, I mean, that is their offense, right? How many times can we throw it to Camden Brown?
Yeah.
But it does seem like they're missing Josh Dallas. But another disappointing year for Georgia Southern. I don't know. Helton always just kind of feels like to me like the guy that most years is going to get you 7 to 8 wins, but he's never going to win, the Sun Belt East, never get you to a championship game. I mean, to a lesser degree, kind of feels like James Franklin at Penn State, right? Like he's good, but he's not quite good enough. So yeah, I don't know. Like I know, like I thought the fans wanted him gone after last year, and they're going to have a worse record this year. So I don't know, but I mean, I don't know what their financial situation is. I don't know what his buyout looks like. So maybe you're right. Maybe he does get another year. We'll see. All right. Louisiana against JMU. JMU gets the win here, 24-14. In the first quarter, Louisiana had 2 possessions. They had 2 3-and-outs. JMU brought in Sluka on a 3rd down. He ran it, set up a 4th and 2 inside the Louisiana 11. Should have been the end of the quarter. They didn't run it out. They ran a play really quick, and he came up short. They did not convert there. JMU seemed to move the ball well, and it feels like this kind of been their MO. Like they're not able. They move the ball, but they're not able to actually score points. Second quarter, you had a big quarterback run on 3rd down for 1st and goal with 5 seconds left in the first half. Louisiana went for it with 0 timeouts, up 7. 4 seconds left. They got stuffed. They asked Coach Dez about it on his way to the locker room on the 4th down call, and he said, "We came here to win." That's why they went for it. Louisiana was up 14-7 at the half, and then after that, I mean, kind of seems like JMU's MO. They get things going in the second half. We saw it again the week before against Georgia State, where they were down 7-0. Scored those 2 touchdowns to win the game. Third quarter, the opening play is a 62-yard touchdown pass. JMU ties it up at 14. And then, like I said, JMU played really well in the second half. They only allowed 21 yards total prior to the Raging Cajuns' last possession with 2:58 left in the game when they were down by 10. Yeah, I mean, the defense has played really well for JMU. Having said that, much like when you talked about the Louisiana Tech defense, I don't think they've really played anyone with a great offense, right? I mean, I guess maybe you could say the best offense they played was Louisville. And I don't think that's a great offense. So I'm not really sure. I mean, I think the defense is good. I don't think they're quite as good as the stats would lead you to believe. And then the offense, like, it's at what point it just feels like at some point that's going to catch up to them, right? Where they play so poorly, particularly in the first half, and then they're able to, get things together, make adjustments, whatever, in the second half, and come back and win these games. But it feels like at some point that's going to catch up to them, right? Where they're like down 28-0 or 24-0 or something along those lines, and it's going to be too big of a deficit to overcome in the second half. That's kind of the way it feels to me. I hope it happens this week. We'll get to the game this week in a minute, but I'm hoping that this is the week where they get so far down early that they're unable to come back. We have JMU ranked in our top 5. I think the defense is certainly capable of that. I don't know. This offense does not. I just don't know what's going on between the first half and the second half. Is the game plan so bad in the first half, and then they're able to make adjustments? I'm just really not sure what's going on, but I feel that just kind of feels like a common theme for JMU so far this season. All right, App State at Georgia State. App State gets the win, 41-20. They started slow as they had 4 of their 7 first half possessions were 3-and-outs for App State. Those other 3 possessions resulted in 17 points, so they were up 17-0 at the half. The game was really never in question as App State kind of cruised. J.J. Cole, like I said, got the start. He looked good in this game. Freshman running back Ja'Cory Lewis continues to impress in this offense. Look for the Mountaineers to, kind of keep rolling. They seem they have a good offensive game plan regardless of who is at quarterback. Some of the games early, the Southern Miss game in particular, like if they didn't have those turnovers, they probably beat Southern Miss. Be interesting to see. Like my assumption is J.J. Cole's they're gonna roll with him until it stops working. Because they saw what Swan could do, and while Swan was effective and able to move the ball, I think the turnovers is kind of what's causing him to kind of take the back seat to J.J. Cole. Georgia State, not good. Del McGee, good recruiter. It's not really getting it done on the coaching front. He's only been there. This is year 2. It feels like they would at least give him another year. Probably the thing that sticks out to me the most is like the lines. Like, it feels like Dell can recruit the skill positions, right? But the offensive line leaves a lot to be desired. That was a problem last year. It's a problem again this year. I think they thought they had it. I think they had planned for it to not, I guess, in my opinion, maybe to not be so great by going out and getting Cam Brown and PJ Hatter, two kind of dual threat guys. But it's just, I don't know. It's not working there. They don't have a lot of fan support. At some point, like you gotta produce wins. I don't know. Like, you have any feel, Katz, on Del McGee there at Georgia State?
I had some optimism coming to the year. It, in some ways, it feels like it's translating a little bit. The passing offense does feel like it's exceeded my expectations. Like, I thought there was potential for a total dumpster fire on the passing front. Anytime I see coaches doing this stuff where like there's 5 plus running backs getting 4+ carries, it just like I just shake my head in disgust, and like it just sends off signals to me like there's like you don't know you don't know what you're doing. There's like no conviction here, especially like there's talented people in that room. Like, just because they're all talented doesn't mean we need to give them all carries. Be a leader, be a decision maker, and like let's actually give the best player 15 plus touches. So that gives me some skepticism. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's translating to W's. I'm not totally out. Like there's on the recruiting front, and then some of the stuff in games like there's been some reason for optimism. I'd be willing to like say like let's go at least one more year. But yeah, I was hoping like to see some more W's this year.
All right, ODU, Marshall. Marshall gets the win, 48-24. Turnovers, the name of the game for the Monarchs. They had 5 turnovers, 3 fumbles, 2 interceptions. It was ugly, man. It was ugly. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, man, like that dude's a baller. I was impressed by him. I don't know, like ODU just couldn't get out of their own way. I don't know, like I hate to sound cynical, but I feel like sometimes as an ODU fan, like this is kind of what you come to expect, right? Like things are going well, looking really good. You'd think we turn the corner, and then we have a game like this. It seems to happen at least once a year where like, you just can't explain it. And maybe there were signs this year, right? I mean, the Liberty game, we had quite a few turnovers. I passed many of those off due to the weather. I mean, it was downpouring most of that game. And we got the win, but like it was ugly. Liberty's pretty bad. Marshall is a better team than their record would indicate. They started off rough, but man, the last couple games with Carlos Del Rio Wilson at quarterback, they've really turned things around, and they're going to be a tough team moving forward in the rest of the Sun Belt.
I, as a Retrada, huge Rod fan, right? I mean, I was very interested in the offseason with Rod Smith as the OC. The vibes I was getting is like, this probably isn't happening this year.
Yep.
It's now happening, and I have pretty much no fantasy connection to it, so I'm like kind of annoyed by it. And also I bet against them on win total, and now they're winning games. So like, in no way am I getting paid off by one of my favorite offensive systems showing out, but it's fun to see. Just like that, seeing that, okay, we don't actually have to wait till a year or two to actually see this start to play out in practice.
You could have been like me. You could have owned Carlos Del Rio Wilson in many leagues to start the year, and then after the first two games, you were so frustrated you dropped them. That's what that's what I did, and
no.
That's yeah. Anyway, all right. This game, not much to say. Louisiana Monroe at Coastal Carolina. It was ugly for UL Monroe. Coastal gets the win, 23-8. I believe UL Monroe had 20 yards total in the first half.
No.
Coastal was up 16-0. I don't know. Not two bad teams. There's no. I mean, I got to see Coastal play a week ago at Old Dominion. Not good. UL Monroe again, not good. So one dimensional. It's basically, and they don't have Ahmad Hardy this year. So yeah, it's ugly game. I don't want to waste any more time talking about it. Exciting game. Maybe the game of the week in the Sun Belt, probably, from an excitement standpoint. Troy at Texas State. Troy wins the game 48-41 in overtime. Look at the second half. Troy is down 31-17. Their opening drive in the second half is a touchdown to cut the lead 24-31. They do an onside kick. They recover the onside kick. That ends in a field goal. Now they're down 31-27. You go to the fourth. They're kind of trading points back and forth. The Trojans are down 41-33 with just under 4 minutes to go. 4th and 6 for Troy with the game on the line. Incomplete pass, but there was a pass interference, that first down for Troy. That ended in a touchdown pass from Kilcrease to DJ Epps with 1:13 left, and then they tied the game after a successful 2-point conversion. 2 big passes set up Texas State with a chance to win the game, 42-yard field goal, but their kicker missed it, so it went to overtime. Troy got the ball first, scored. Texas State does not. Troy wins. We talked about this one earlier. Classic G.J. Kinney game where he should win, and he just kind of craps the bed. That's 2 weeks in a row now where it's kind of happened. All right, let's move on to Week 8 in the Sun Belt. You got Arkansas State at South Alabama on tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. South Alabama favored by 7.5, over under 59.5. That seems like a big spread for two teams that, like, I don't think we really know like what to expect from either of them, right? South Alabama has been playing well. Arkansas State coming off it's a bye this week, but they got the big win against Texas State in Week 6. Maybe Jalen Rayner and Corey Rucker will get that connection going again here. If I'm going to bet, I'm going to take Arkansas State in the points. I don't know. South Alabama has been a disappointment, I think.
They have been. I don't think that I'd want to back Arkansas State though. Yes, there's been some bad results for South, but I still have a decent amount of confidence, I think, in the structure of the team, coaching staff, just from a stability perspective and floor perspective. I would rather back them in this game.
All right. We got Troy at UL Monroe, 3 p.m. Troy favored by 5.5, over under 46.5. I mean, that seems crazy after what we saw, the performance of Louisiana Monroe at Coastal, right? 20 points or 20 yards total and a half against a Troy team that's hot, playing really well. Give me Troy laying the points. That spread makes zero sense to me. All right, let's move over to what potentially could be the game of the week. Huge game for the Sun Belt East. Old Dominion at James Madison. James Madison favored by 1.5, over under 46.5. This is a big game. I mean, it's a big game for both teams. Whoever wins this game, I feel like, has the inside track to win the Sun Belt East, inside track to host the Sun Belt Championship game. It feels like if ODU loses this game, it could be the start of a downslide, right? You lost the game at Marshall, you lose at JMU, and then you got App State, who's playing well the following week. Like, before you could wake up and be like, oh, we lost 3 in a row. You know, you win this game and you're thinking, okay, well, we can still we might be the favorite now to win the Sun Belt East. So it's for Old Dominion, it's a critical game. For the JMU, I mean, for both teams really. I feel like ODU wins this game, but they can't turn the ball over 3-5 times like they've done in some games. You just can't do it. I mean, and they've done it in different ways. Like, it's been interceptions, it's been fumbles by Colton Joseph, fumbles by the running backs. This past week it was special teams and fumbling punts. I don't know. Like, I'm hoping Old Dominion can get things turned around. I think if they don't have the turnovers, I think they win this game and they win by more than 1.5 based on what we've seen from JMU to this point in their offense. Hopefully the Marshall game will serve as a wake-up call. But again, like I said, if they lose, I can see a potential 3-game skid for the Monarchs when they come back and at home against home, come back to home and play against App State if they lose this game against JMU.
Yeah, I would assume Alonzo Barnett's body is still in the healing phase, and the dude is not physically probably he's medically cleared or whatever, but he's a shell of himself relative to last season. I think we're seeing that play out on the field this year. If basically what you said, if ODU can do fun things on offense, not shoot themselves in the foot, they should win this game.
We got Coastal at App State. App State favored by 10.5, over under 50.5. Two teams going different directions. Coastal got the win this past week, but they're not a good football team. I think App State's going to crush them. So give me App State laying the points. 50.5. I don't know. I think App State can probably score in the high 30s. I don't know that Coastal can, score even, 2 touchdowns in this game. Texas State at Marshall, 3:30 p.m. Texas State favored by 2.5, over under 64.5. I think it's going to be a good game. Marshall's playing really well. Texas State finds ways to give it away. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row now. Could be a third week in a row. I think Marshall at home is always tough, and that team, like I said, they are better than their record indicates. I don't know, Texas State, if they want to have any hope, and I think the hope is very dim in terms of winning the Sun Belt West. But I think they have to win this game, right? Like they lose this game, they're done. And then if Marshall wins, maybe they're a dark horse to win the East. I don't know. What do you think?
The Sun Belt Conference Championship puzzle is so fun to try and solve because of the divisions.
Yeah.
Or up to a week ago, I was like, I have this shit locked up. I have a JMU. I have a little bit of like JMU plus 420 from before the season. I have some ODU plus 900. I have Southern Miss at 40-1, and I thought I had one. I forget who was the fourth team who was in consideration. Oh, Texas State. I took some 6-1. I'm like, it's those 4 teams, and now it feels like anything could happen. Southern Miss still feels like they're in amazing shape. Like is it the West that they're in? It's just like kind of a train wreck, and it's like, dude, just don't do anything stupid, and we can do this. We can get to the championship game, and then I can hedge or some shit. The East, it's definitely like very.
I think the East, in my opinion, the East is going to be decided this week between Old Dominion and JMU. The winner of that game, I think, wins the East.
Likely, but also I could see either of those teams dropping 2+ games over the course of the season. Like JMU, they've tried so hard to lose the last 2 weeks against Louisiana and Georgia State. And then ODU, I mean, how confident can we be after the Marshall game?
That they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I have some money. The 2 teams I bet on, obviously Old Dominion and Southern Miss. So that's what I would like to see. And I thought it was looking good up until that Marshall game, but
right.
We'll see. All right, moving along. Saturday night, 5 p.m. We got Southern Miss at Louisiana. Southern Miss favored by 4.5. Over under 54.5. I like Southern Miss in the game. I mean, I think Lunch Winfield is fun, right? Getting Zylan Perry, I think it will help. I just think Southern Miss with Braylon Braxton, Jeff Pittman. I just think they're the better team. I think they have the better talent on offense and defense. I think Southern Miss will win this game. I like the Golden Eagles laying the 4.5 against the Raging Cajuns, even though the game is in Lafayette. The final game of the week in the Sun Belt, you got the rivalry game. You got Georgia State at Georgia Southern. The spread, Georgia Southern by 6.5, over under 61.5. Do you think these teams can score combined 61.5 points? I don't think so. I don't know.
It's so funny how I don't know why. Funny, maybe not the operative word, but those schools, dude, they fucking hate each other, and it is as an observer, as a bystander, like watching those 2 fan bases go at it is always enjoyable.
Yeah, and it is a rivalry game, so you just never really know what's going to happen. But like, I don't know, that seems like a high total for both of these teams, who haven't really. Neither of them have played really well at all this season. I like Georgia Southern to win the game. If I had to bet something this game, I think I would take the under. All right, let's move over to the Mountain West, and we got the first game of the week. Fresno State at Colorado State. Colorado State rolls in this game. This game shocked me. Like, I don't know, like Fresno State, like I feel like the defense has played well. The running game has not. They've had some good weeks, but they've I don't know, like Donaldson seems like super talented, but then like he rushes 25 times for 50 yards. Like I guess like the offensive line isn't good. Colorado State's been so up and down, so inconsistent. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I really know what to expect from either of these teams at this point in the season. I mean, Fresno State's look better, their record's better. They've had some decent wins. Colorado State has been a disappointment to this point. And then you have a game like this where the Rams win 49-21. It's just like, everything I thought I knew, like, went out the window after this game.
Understandable. One of the things I saw on Twitter somewhere, someone said, which I think makes sense, is like, in terms of Colorado State and their identity, they put all their eggs in the Jackson Warren basket, and now with him out, like, there's no backup plan basically from a passing game perspective. So they're like just kind of screwing, trying to figure it out on the fly. And then Fresno State, like the whole thing was supposed to be like, we're gonna play man ball and like run the shit out of the ball, right? I feel like Donaldson has to not be healthy.
I think the offensive line is not great either. But
is that what's going on? Yeah,
I think that's part of it. I think that's certainly part of it. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like after that game, I just don't really know what to expect from either team, because like I would have thought, based on that point in the season, I would have expected the score to have been reversed: 49 Fresno State, 21 Colorado State, and then I don't know, Fresno State lays the egg, Colorado State gets the W. Colorado State just like they just don't have an offensive identity, right? Like
it keeps changing. I think they keep trying different things, and I'll give them some credit there, even though like they Norvell and staff do catch a bunch of deserved hate. They are, at least, I think, I agree with you, they don't have an offensive identity, but I think they're at least kind of acknowledging it and trying to pivot to different things, hoping something clicks. I don't know. Watching that game, it felt vindicating for them that like they finally like things actually worked out for once, and they like everything just kind of clicked into place. So,
all right, Air Force versus UNLV. Points and yards galore in this game. 42 points scored in the fourth quarter of the game. That is absolutely insane. 1,200 yards of total offense in the game. It basically ended up being a contest. It seemed like there'd be a contest of who would have the ball last.
yeah.
UNLV had the ball with 1:13 left. They were down 48-44. Anthony Calandria marches them down the field. He runs it in from 14 yards out. The drive took 37 seconds. UNLV is up 51-48. Air Force gets the ball last. They march right down the field, set up by a 23-yard pass to Jonah Dawson. However, their kicker would miss the 40-yard field goal to tie the game, and UNLV escapes. UNLV is 6-0. They're not a good 6-0 team, in my opinion. Like, that defense is not good. They haven't played anyone. Like, I'm still on the bandwagon. They should have lost week 0 against Idaho State.
Yeah.
We have them ranked in their top 5 because, like, how could you not, just based on their record? Then, like we said earlier, they're getting the wins, man. But, like, I just feel like it's a matter of time before they kind of get got with how bad that defense is playing. And maybe it's going to be this week. There's a huge Mountain West matchup this week against Boise State. San Jose State at Wyoming. Wyoming gets the win 35-28. Crazy game, right? Like, Wyoming does nothing in the first half. Literally nothing. Danny Scudero goes absolutely bonkers in the first half, right? 4 touchdowns by halftime. As we mentioned, Walker Eget did get hurt on a hit by linebacker Tycee Westland. After the hit, Eget fumbled, and he was sidelined for most of the second half. The offense kind of struggled with him out, which, I don't know, kind of blows my mind, because, like, Eget's been playing well as of late. The first few games of the season, like, it was not going well. I was kind of surprised they never made a quarterback switch. But obviously, he got things turned around, was playing well. The offense has struggled with him in the second half. Couldn't really do much, and it allowed Wyoming to, kind of take over the game. Egan did return to the game with 2:44 left. Like we said, Scudero had an amazing game in the first half. That last drive, he was targeted 8 times, but only had 2 receptions. At that point, they were rotating between Xavier Ward and Tama Amasoni at quarterback. Ward was in first. They just kind of looked lost without Walker Egan, which is not something I think I would have ever thought. Based on how Egan's been so up and down, so hot and cold. Like, to me, him and Tucker Gleason, like, they're 2 of the most frustrating quarterbacks because they're just so Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, but from a fantasy and betting perspective, like I make it by my business to always know what the difference is between the starting quarterback and the backup quarterbacks, and there's like a clear difference here. Like, these guys cannot run the system. How does that actually always play out from like a who wins, who loses perspective is one thing. From a fantasy perspective, yeah, there could be overlap, but but not always, right? Like, I thought Bowling Green was dead in the water with Lucian Anderson, who has no business playing FBS football at the quarterback position as the quarterback, but obviously he shoved that back in my face and they beat their rival. But I mean, Amazon, amazing dynasty asset, but like, that dude cannot run this offense in the same way that it's run when Walker Egan is quarterback. And I've never watched Xavier Ward, but like, it doesn't seem like that one very well. But like, this isn't the first time we've seen this team do this. They found a way to blow that Stanford game earlier this year that they had no business losing in Central Michigan. Like, that's more than a little frustrating that these games have played out this way.
Absolutely. All right, we got New Mexico at Boise State. Boise State gets the win, 41-25. Sloppy game to kind of start. New Mexico got the ball first. They fumbled. Boise field goal. New Mexico interception. Boise turnover and downs. New Mexico punt. Boise touchdown. It's 20-17 in favor of Boise State heading into the fourth quarter. Boise State would chew up 5 minutes on a drive, score a touchdown, go up 27-17. The next New Mexico possession, see them fail in a 4th and 4 with a rare lane to Dorian Thomas incompletion. Boise would score another touchdown to go up 34-17 with just under 8 minutes to go, and that was kind of the game at that point. I mean, they traded touchdowns, but I don't know. Like, Boise State is not the Boise State we come to know and love. New Mexico, I think, is an improved team, but at the end of the day, they still couldn't get it done against the Broncos. Got San Diego State versus Nevada. San Diego State wins 41-10. Carter Jones got the start, freshman quarterback, but can't get much going. San Diego State's a team, like, they know. I mean, Sean Lewis gets the ball in the hands of his playmakers, right? Feed Lucky Sutton, get the ball to Jordan Napier, and good things will happen. That's what they've been doing, right? Their defense has played well, and so they're kind of a dark horse, I feel like, in this. Dare I say, are they a favorite to win the Mountain West? Right? I mean, like, I don't think UNLV, despite a 6-0 start, has looked super impressive. And then Boise showed lots of chinks in their armor. What do you think? You think San Diego State's a dark horse to win the Mountain West?
Oh man, I am willing to believe in the defense here. I think for sure. I think that we've got enough evidence at this point. I just don't know. Like, and I totally believe in Sean Lewis and his abilities when it comes to just scheming stuff up, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough offense to get them to actually get all the way to winning the Mountain West.
Well, speaking of offense, this is a game that we expected would be a super high scoring game, and it was. It didn't necessarily pan out like what we may have expected. Hawaii gets the win 44-26. There was only 2 drives in the first half that took longer than 3 minutes, and it's 24-20 in favor of Hawaii at the half. End of the third, beginning of the fourth, when things really started trying to go Hawaii's way, following a Hawaii field goal, they're up 27-26. Utah State started their drive with a 15-yard pass, but then things would stall and they would punt the ball back to Hawaii with 1:51 left in the third quarter. Hawaii would then go on for the longest time of possession drive in the game, just under 5 minutes. Alejado would cap it off with a 15-yard touchdown run. The Rainbow Warriors are up 34-26. The next 3 possessions for Utah State were turnover on downs, a fumble, and an interception. Hawaii would go on to score 10 more during that stretch, and Hawaii wins. Kudos to Hawaii and Mike Alejado. There were a lot of doubters, right? Like based early on the season, and he's, I don't know, like the last couple weeks, he's kind of played to my expectations, if not exceeded them.
Dude, it's all happening. We're like it's gonna be great. We just need no injuries of like ankle re-aggravation or like Micah. They run him a little too much for my liking. That like, dude, just let him sling it 60 times a game. We don't need to put his 170-pound body in harm's way actively running the ball on design runs.
Yeah, agree. All right, let's move over to the Week 8 preview in the Mountain West. We got San Jose State at Utah State. Utah State favored by 3.5. Over under 65.5. That over under kind of leads me to believe they're expecting Walker Egan to play, right?
Yeah.
And I think if he does, it should be a good game. Utah State, is Bryson Barnes going to be fully healthy for the game? That's a big question mark for them, right? I think for them to have a chance to win, they need Bryson Barnes. Assuming Walker E gets healthy, I think I like San Jose State in this game. What do you think?
I'm scared to back them after what's happened recently in their games.
Always scared. I'm always scared to.
Did Barnes re-aggravate his shoulder?
He must have did something because I know, I didn't get to see the game, but
yeah.
The other two played in the game against Hawaii, right. With Conover and who was the other?
Garcia.
Garcia. Yeah, I mean Conover was 4 for 10. Garcia 1 for 1.
Garcia, I think they just do trick plays with, but yeah, Conover clearly took over at some point, multiple points, I think.
So my guess is Barnes just really isn't healthy.
Yeah.
I think if he was fully healthy, I think I'd like Utah State in the game.
Agreed.
But if he's not healthy, I've been like a big Walker Egan detractor. Him and Tucker Gleason, I'm just so done with the two of those guys because they're so up and down. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I'd actually really lay money on Walker Egan. I don't think I could do that, but if I had to pick something in this game, that's what I'd take. I would take Utah State getting the 3.5 points. All right, Saturday 3:30, Wyoming at Air Force. Air Force favored by 4.5. Over under 58.5. I like Air Force in this game. I think. They offensively they've looked well. Their defense can't stop anybody, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that Wyoming offense.
Yeah, I made the mistake of cutting Gillenborg in the league, and now he walks into I thought he was never coming back, but now he's coming back for the ultimate shootout scenario. So fire him up if you got him, right? This is the week. If maybe add Caden Anderson, you're never gonna have another chance to play him, might as well do it this week.
That's right. All right, big matchup, Mountain West. UNLV at Boise State. Boise State's favored by 10.5.
Really?
Over under of 63.5. That seems like a big spread in this game. Like,
Yeah.
I realize UNLV hasn't played anybody, but I do think the UNLV offense is competent. I think they can score points. I don't think their defense can stop anybody. Maybe Vegas is expecting, Sire Gaines, Dylan Riley, Malik Sherrod just to kind of run all over them and kind of control the time of possession, I guess. I mean, to get to that spread, that's really the only way I see that happening, I guess. I mean, Boise State hasn't looked good either.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to say as well. It's like, yes, it's been noted ad nauseum how UNLV is winning all these one-score games, how they can't stop anyone. But like, has Boise really looked that great either? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's the only way I see them getting to that 10.5 point spread is that they think Boise is going to run all over them and kind of control the time of possession. All right, we got Hawaii at Colorado State. Colorado State favored by 1.5. Over under 54.5. That blows my mind as well. Give me Hawaii. Give me the Rainbow Warriors in this game. I mean, I get it. Colorado State won last week, but yeah, I'm not on their bandwagon. I think Alejado and Pafeli Ashlock, Jackson Harris have a field day against that Colorado State defense.
Let's do it.
Final game of the night, Nevada at New Mexico, 9:45 p.m. on FS1. We got New Mexico favored by 12.5, over under 48.5. I don't know. This isn't a game. This isn't a game I'm probably staying up too late to watch. It doesn't feel. I don't know. Nevada is just not good. They're not good. I think. I mean, 12.5 points is a lot, but I'm assuming they're going to roll the freshman out there again for Nevada, Carter Lewis. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the Lobos in this one. I think. Coach Lane's a good coach. That was a good hire.
Yep.
So yeah, not much else to say. Lobos roll in this game, week 8. All right, home stretch. We're almost done. Got the Mid-American Conference. We got some MACtion. Right now it is Saturday MACtion, but you got Miami, Ohio against Akron here in week 8. Sorry, my notes are somehow the font got changed to white, so it's kind of hard to read on a white background. Akron just had missed opportunities in the first quarter. Finley was intercepted on a 3rd and goal. They missed a 38-yard field goal. Miami was up 3-0 at the half. Third quarter, Akron would have 7 total yards. Miami would get 2 touchdowns. They're up 17-0 after 3 quarters. Akron finally gets on the board, just under 7 to go, but obviously too little, too late. Those missed opportunities is kind of really what kind of killed Akron early on. But credit to Miami for kind of owning the third quarter. 139 yards in that third quarter from Miami, 2-7 for Akron. Miami gets the win. I don't know, like I thought the DeQuan Finn would have brought a lot more juice to Miami than he's bringing. But, I mean, they do get the win in this game.
It feels like there's just not an amazing supporting cast there.
Cast.
And I think that the game plan is being dictated by that to some degree. I've been targeting Akron for when I figure out who I want to stream fantasy defenses for a lot of weeks. It's always more fun when Ben Finley is out, which feels like it could happen at any point. But even when he plays, like it still works.
All right, the shocker of the week: Toledo at Bowling Green, a Jason Candle special. Bowling Green gets the win. It was all Toledo though in the first half. They're up 21-7, 303 yards of offense to 112 for Bowling Green. Bowling Green would score a touchdown with under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter to make it 21-14 in favor of Toledo. But in the fourth, Toledo would have three and outs, and 2 turnovers by Tucker Gleason, a fumble, and an interception. Bowling Green would score on an explosive, one of a few explosive plays in the game, 75-yard touchdown pass from R.J. Garcia to Cam Petaway. Bowling Green would then take advantage of the sack and the fumble and good field position. They were set up there, first and goal from the 1 for TD from Chris McMillan. Bowling Green's now up 28-21, and that's what they win by. I don't know, like Tucker Gleason, Jason Candle. That's just what they do, right? Like, it's so frustrating because I feel like by far Toledo has the most talent in the MAC, and it seems like it's a year in and year out. But man, like whether it's just Jason Candle just kind of screwing the pooch and with his, in the game, or Tucker Gleason with his play, so up and down. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so frustrating because I feel like they have so much talent at Toledo. They waste it. They waste it. I don't know what else to say.
Totally.
All right. This game we actually is one we kind of called last week. We said it was going to be a rock fight. That's what it was. I said I think Eastern Michigan is going to win the game because Northern Illinois is just too one-dimensional. They have no passing game whatsoever. Neither team moved the ball well. Northern Illinois had an 80-yard Telly Johnson touchdown run, but that was really about it. It just, I don't know, ugly game. Northern Illinois is, I mean, they have the running backs. I think they have the defense, but when you don't have you have no semblance of a passing game, I don't care, how good your running backs are. Like, they're just going to stack the box, right? And dare you to throw it. And I think it's going to be a rough year for the Huskies this year because of their quarterback play. Shocker. I mean, I'm not shocked that Kent State won. I'm shocked that they absolutely destroyed UMass. UMass isn't good. I get that. But they beat them 42-0. I think this game is just much more about how bad UMass is versus how good good that Kent State was. Both teams are not great on third down. Kent State did not throw the ball a ton. They didn't need to. They're getting, but when they did, they got 9 yards per pass compared to UMass's 4.6. UMass offensive line is terrible. They averaged 1.3 yards per rush. Kent State had 4 sacks and 13 tackles for loss on the day. If you play college fans football and you're looking for defenses to stream, whoever is playing UMass, I mean, they're not good. They're not good. All right, Ball State at Western Michigan. All Western Michigan in this one. Western Michigan 416 total yards compared to Ball State's 88. Ball State only managed 0.7 yards per carry on 27 attempts. Ball State could not convert 4 third downs as they were 1 for 13. To me, the biggest question is Western Michigan good or they're just beating bad teams, right?
That's I've been toying with that idea as well. I see them getting a bunch of credit, and I'm not sure I'm willing to buy in.
Really, the one game I look at and say, well, maybe is the North Texas game, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like North Texas is probably overlooking them.
That North Texas tried really hard to lose that game, if I recall correctly as well.
I mean, I think Western Michigan obviously have a good record. I am not a believer in them being a good team yet. All right, let's move to our final Week 8 preview. We got Central Michigan at Bowling Green. Bowling Green favored by 3.5, over under 42.5. That's a noon start on Saturday. Still got Saturday MACtion until we get to November. Central Michigan, man, like, I don't know, like, I feel like what we haven't seen what we saw against this again Week 1 against San Jose State, right? Like, I think Week 1 was what they want to do, right? Run the ball a lot, play good defense, but then like it hasn't really worked since then. The quarterback rotation, was 3 guys. Then with the injury to Glasser, it's down to 2 guys, but I don't really know what to expect from Central Michigan at this point. I mean, it feels like if Drew Pine can go for Bowling Green, it feels like I think I would pick Bowling Green, but I don't know. It just seems like 2 mediocre-ish MAC teams in this one.
Agreed. Yeah, and if Pine's out, I don't know how you could back Bowling Green.
Agree. All right, Eastern Michigan and Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio favored by 13.5, over under 47.5. I like Miami in the game, but Eastern Michigan can score with them. I mean, Eastern Michigan, I don't think can stop anybody, but I do think that Eastern Michigan can hang with them. So if I had to bet in this game, I'm probably going to take Eastern Michigan's in the 13.5 points. I think they can keep it within 10, based on what they've done so far with their offense. Kent State at Toledo. Toledo favored by 25.5, over under 50.5. I get that Kent State isn't good, but I don't know that I can, in good conscience, bet that big of a spread for Toledo, with Jason Candle as the coach and Tucker Gleason as the quarterback.
Let's just give the ball to Chip 40 times.
That's what why do they not do that, man? Like,
he got it a bunch against Bowling Green, but still, I hear you. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you got to keep the ball out of Tucker Gleason's hands. Like, he's just man, he's so I hate to go off on him again, but he's just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I expect Toledo to win the game. I don't think they cover the 25.5 though. Buffalo at UMass. Buffalo favored by 16.5, over under 44.5. You're looking for a defense to stream, pick up the Bulls. Think the Bulls roll in this one. UMass, again, not good. They're over. They're likely to not get a win here in 2025. Akron at Ball State. Ball State favored by 1.5, over under 42.5. I don't know. Like, I mean, the spread kind of tells you it's a pick 'em. That's kind of what I expect. I think it's going to be an ugly game. It's not going to be exciting. Can the Zips win? Sure. Cale Kelly, while fun a quarterback, like, he's not adept at passing the ball, and so it just makes Ball State so one-dimensional. And so I think maybe Finley can lead Akron to a win this week. Final game of the week, 3:30 p.m. Saturday, ESPN Plus. Northern Illinois at Ohio. Ohio favored by 11.5, over under 41.5. Give me Ohio laying the points. I am interested to see, coming off the bye, what Ohio team we see. I feel like, at least twice this year, Ohio has kind of like sleptwalk in the first half. And it kind of cost them. Like, I mean, we saw it in that Rutgers game, right? Where, they did absolutely nothing in the first half, and then they, made a furious comeback, weren't able to get it done. Obviously, we saw them lose 2 weeks ago. I feel like they're the most talented team in the MAC, but if that's going to prove to fruition, they got Northern Illinois is not good. Like we said earlier, no passing, no threat of a passing attack. Just all you got to do is stop the run. So I'm just kind of looking forward to see what Ohio looks like after the bye and how they respond coming off that loss. Do you see anybody threatening Ohio in the MAC in terms of the MAC championship?
Probably not. My wallet is praying for Buffalo, but they haven't shown anything that makes me think that that's realistic. And then, I mean, every other team near the top we've kind of talked about, it just doesn't feel overly likely.
All right, that's going to do it for our Week 7 review, Week 8 previews. If you're still with us, now we're going to move on to a quick last segment of the night on college fantasy football. That's our waiver wire pickups, waiver wire honey for Week 7. With no Luke, you're just going to get my 3 picks this week. My first pick at quarterback got Carlos Del Rio Wilson from Marshall, 13% owned. Goes against Texas State this week in what should be a shootout. We've talked about this several times throughout the show, but Carlos Del Rio Wilson's been on fire the last 3 weeks. 34 points, 30 points, 38 points. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's the centerpiece of a run-heavy offense. That he's the man, and so it's crazy that he's still available in 13% of leagues. Because if he's available in your leagues, he could turn out to be a league winner, and I expect him to have a high point total this week against Texas State. Next up, you got Tucker Kilcrease against for Troy. He's only 2% owned. They play UL Monroe this week. Troy, he's been lighting it up the last 2 weeks. 36 points, 28 points in the air, and he does it in the air and on the ground. He has 50+ rushing yards and a rushing touchdown each of the last 2 weeks. Only 2% owned. Should have a good week against the UL Monroe Warhawks. And I realized that I messed up the graphics on this. You see Nick Minicucci there. Nick Minicucci does not meet the criteria anymore. I messed up and forgot to change that graphic. But that third player I had was Anthony Calandria. UNLV, 29% owned. They play Boise State this week. He had 36 points this past week versus Air Force. I expect another shootout. Like we said, the UNLV defense is not good. So expect each and every week Anthony Calandria to kind of have to, put up points. And we know that Dan Mullen is a quarterback is friendly for Dan Mullen, kind of a kingmaker there, if you will. So Anthony Calandria, 29%, and he's kind of hung at 29% the last several weeks. So maybe this is the week he kind of gets over that hump and no longer available on for our segment here because they're not under 30% owned. You have any thoughts on any of those quarterbacks, Andrew?
Caden Creel, no matter what, I assume he meets the criteria.
Yeah, he's got to be under 30%. Has to be.
Yeah. Very in on Cedric Del Rio, Carlos Del Rio Wilson. As I scroll through my leagues to confirm that I have no chance of getting him in any of them.
Yeah, he's not available in any of my leagues either.
Yeah. But I'm a believer in Delaware for sure. So like Minucci makes total sense. I think that he should put up some good stuff for us in fantasy as like Delaware should. They're like pretty much every week. I think they're going to be in a position to put up fantasy points, and it seems like it largely runs through him. The only time I've really seen Kilcrease last year he looked horrendous. So I'm gonna.
And he did when he first got the start. He has looked good the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So kind of riding the hot hand. But no, I agree with you. Like I was a little hesitant to have him on here, but he's played really well the last 2 weeks. So maybe he's got things figured out, or they've tailored the offense to kind of suit his abilities. All right, running backs got Jeffrey Pittman, Southern Miss, 9% owned. They play Louisiana this week. He's kind of the bell cow running back of that offense. He had 31 carries last week, and he's had 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games, 2 every week, 20-plus points in each of the last 3 weeks. Running backs are always tough in fantasy leagues. Only 9% owned. Go out and get Jeffrey Pittman if he's there. The second guy I have is Jay Ducker at Temple, 14% owned. Already talked about the juicy matchup this week against Charlotte. He had 23 points this week versus Navy. That matchup against Charlotte, look for him I would expect 15-plus points out of him. He's had double-digit points in 3 of the 5 games. The only 2 games he did not have double-digit points were against UTSA and Oklahoma. And he has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. And my last running back is Jonathan Silver at Delaware, 25% owned. They played Jacksonville State Wednesday night. 4 of 5 games, he's had 15-plus points. He has a high of 30 points, and he is involved in the passing game. And as we said earlier, Delaware has a penchant. Like they have a competent offense. They're going to be in a lot of shootouts. So Silver's definitely someone to own in that offense. I feel like all 3 of those running backs are going to get you 15-plus points for in week 8. They all have great matchups, and they can help you in the future as well. Any thoughts?
Good call on Ducker. I totally agree. I can't imagine a scenario where Temple's not in a position to run the ball a bunch this week with what's his name? With Pittman. The one thing I would think of just from I think he's a solid ad, but within reason from like a fab perspective. Like he just went up against an absolutely horrendous run D in Georgia Southern, right? So are you buying at the top, and depending on the price you're paying, are you overbidding relative to what it may take and relative to what we can expect going forward? I think he'll probably get 15-plus touches, but like it might be closer to 15 than 30, and he's not going to face Georgia Southern every game, right? So
the interesting thing is like his use on the goal line, right? Like getting the touchdowns and not necessarily Braylon Braxton.
Yeah, fair.
And then Silver, like he's just he's easily their best running back.
Yeah.
And like you said, it feels like they're always in a shootout every single week. All right, wide receivers. Number 1 ad for me this week would be DeMarcus Lacey from Marshall, 13% owned. Again, great matchup against Texas State. He's had 26-plus points in his last 3 games. He also has had 4 touchdowns during that stretch, 6 targets, 12 targets, and 9 targets, 100-plus yards. I mean, the guy's on fire, right? Carlos Del Rio Wilson's getting it done. DeMarcus Lacey's getting it done if he's available in your leagues. Again, maybe he has another potential league winner there based on the volume he's getting in that offense. Next up, I got Asad Wasim from FAU, Florida Atlantic, 5% owned. He is the number 2 receiver in a high volume passing attack. As we've said before, passing attempts per game, Caden Veltkamp leads all of college football in that stat. He's had 17-plus points in 3 of 5 games. His last 2 games, 17 points and 25 points, 4 touchdowns on the year. And then rounding out the wide receivers, got Victor Snow at Buffalo, 29% owned. They play UMass this week. He's had double-digit points 4 of 5 games. He had 38 points in week 6 before the bye in week 7. Look for all 3 of these guys to have big weeks here in week 8. all of them have great matchups. I mean, while the FAU-UCF game matchup isn't great from a win perspective for FAU, it's great for those receivers because they're going to have to throw the ball a ton to even hope to keep up with South Florida. Anything you want to
add? Wish I had Lacey on my teams, but I have 0. You're right. It looks like everything's trying. It seems like it's going to triangulate nicely with the Marshall offense. QB, maybe a little sketchiness on RB, but wide receiver, you got the WR1. Like, feels like it's just wheels up. Nothing really for me for the other two though.
All right, last position group, the tight ends. Got Isaiah Cummings, App State, 29% owned. Great matchup this week against Coastal Carolina. He had 21 points in Week 7. He's had 4+ targets in every game. He's had 2 games with 80+ yards. He is a bit of a boom and a bust, but I feel like that's the norm for tight ends, right? Like, that's just kind of what happens. And then the second guy I think is a bit more consistent. That's Josh Long, Eastern Michigan, 5% owned. They play Miami this week. He has 16 points in Week 7. He's getting you like averaging 5 targets a week, averaging 40+ yards a week. Nothing like super sexy, but he's pretty consistent. And sometimes, that's just what you have to go with at tight end if you don't have one of the elite options. All right, we've done it. It's 3 hours. It's way longer than I told Katz I was going to keep them.
It's partially my fault. You know what you're getting when you bring me on.
Well, man, we appreciate you sitting in. Keeps me from having to talk by myself for 3 hours, and like I always appreciate your insight and your outlook. And man, just tell the folks before we go. Tell the folks where they can find you. You said a BTR is coming out soon, so
yeah. So Zach released our newest episode of Burning the Red Shirt podcast on YouTube, which came out tonight. It'll hit Spotify and all that audio stuff tomorrow. I'm technically on Twitter, although I'm not super active on Twitter. You can find me at Andrew P. Katz. That being said, like I am always extremely interested in talking ball, right? Whether it be via or from like a fantasy angle, pure college football angle, or most interestingly, like a prop betting angle.
Yeah.
If you're like, so I definitely have created a sort of reputation for myself incidentally, where I don't want to like with that reputation being that like I don't want to talk edges, don't want to share, etc. Like want all like the stuff for myself. I am working not as hard as I could be, but trying to like refine that perception a little bit. I am super interested in talking to everyone, but like I don't what I'm just not super interested in doing is just like blasting out edges on like social media and stuff. Like, but like, dude, if like let's talk on Discord, let's text, whatever, like let's work together to try and win lots of money, but like in a more personal setting, if you catch my drift.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, Andrew. Hopefully we'll have you again before the end of the season. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. On X, give us a follow. If you're listening on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star rating reviews. So thankful for each and every one of you for all your support throughout this year. Be sure to join us next week as we discuss what happened in Week 8. Look forward to what's kind of coming up in Week 9. And as always, bring you up to date on all the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.